Alrighty. Alrighty. Do give it a second for people to join up here. What's up, everyone joining the stream? Do give it a minute for people to join up. Do give it a minute for people to join up. Only send a guest request. If you meet that set of criteria, that'll be putting on the TikTok screen here in a second, everyone. Do give it a minute for people to join up. Do give it a second. Let me make sure I have everything set up on the stream, and I'll let the Instagram know that I'm live. Oh, I didn't copy for some reason. Give me 1 second, everyone. 1 second. There we go. Alrighty, pin message. Now let me go on Instagram, let them know I'm live. What's up, everyone joining in the stream? I am live. Alrighty, do give it a second for people to join up. Only send a guest request if you do meet that set of criteria listed here on the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Only send a guest request if you do meet that set of criteria. Again, listed on the TikTok screen. We're going to start getting people up here in a second. Again, everyone, do give it a minute for people to join up. Do give it a minute for people to join up. Alrighty, do give it a minute. We're going to start getting people up here in a second. Only send a guest request if you do meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
34.
Do you support Donald Trump?
Yeah, I support Donald Trump.
Okay, and if you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
Trump.
Okay, why do you support Donald Trump?
Because he's the best for the country.
How
He's the
so?
best for the country. Look, we need strong borders. We need a decisive, robust executive. And that's what Trump is.
Okay. And what do you mean a strong executive? Like, what type of executive power are you trying to give to the president?
I mean, listen, the president has plenary powers. I mean, look, what he's doing with the National Guard, all of this stuff is needed. I mean, DC is a crime hole. He's
Can you
cleaning
tell me
that
what you
up.
mean by plenary power?
Plenary power. I mean, like,
Yeah.
that means he has, like, I just heard Stephen Miller say it, but
Yeah,
what
I
I
know you
heard
heard him say it,
was
but what do you think it
it's
means?
like one of them old school monarch terms.
It's one of the, yeah, so again, I'm asking you, what powers do you think that gives the president?
I don't know. I have bad connection though.
No, you don't. They just left. Okay. Alrighty, let's go on the next individual. Only send a guest request if you do meet that set of criteria. Listen to the TikTok screen. If you're on YouTube, everybody, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. Thank you, everyone, from joining in from Dean's stream. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Only do send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
50.
Do you support Donald Trump?
I do.
If you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
Trump.
Okay, why do you support Trump?
Why?
Yeah.
Because of all the things Democrats are,
Okay, what about that?
all the different types of things they actually try to do to us, gaslight us, make us think in all these different uh can I say bullshit that they've put on the American people for the last 20 years. They're nothing. All I got to do is watch the congressional hearings every single day, and you can see what a bunch of liars, um, like un-American, un like not for the people of this country. All you got to do is watch the congressional hearings, and you can find out a lot about what these people really think. And if Americans would just take the time to listen to them in these hearings and all these other congressional meetings,
Sir, you've cut out. I can't hear
of
you currently.
society, they're
What'd you
not
just
for
say?
the betterment of society.
Okay. Could you
I
give me?
mean, I don't have to look any farther than my own state, where I am taxed into the poorhouse. Basically, I mean, I'm not, but most people in this state rely on the state assistance to get by. There's not enough jobs because they're all going to people who don't belong here. We see how they are exploiting the immigrant worker here in the state of Illinois. We see how there's now a tax on paint. If you want to paint your house to move out of this state, they're going to tax you for it. If you want to move out of the state, say I find a home in Iowa and I sell this house and I'm already living in Iowa when this house sells, I'm going to be taxed like $1,300 minimum on the sale of my house because I tried to escape a tyrannical governance over the people in the state of Illinois. We have some of the highest property taxes determined by district. Some places their property taxes have risen 133% in just the past 7 years since Pritzker's become governor. Our taxes have went up 40%, more than that. Actually,
am I going to be able to respond to any of this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I don't think Pritzker's determining district property tax rates. I think that's an important thing to take into account. Secondly, I don't know what you're talking about in terms of jobs going to undocumented immigrants. I think when undocumented immigrants and documented immigrants come to our country, not only do they fulfill jobs themselves, but they also create demand for labor, which increases the amount of jobs that exist in our society. And when we work together as a society, it increases the amount of jobs. So if you, say, deport a bunch of undocumented immigrants, well, there are other jobs that exist that rely on the jobs that undocumented immigrants that we're filling. So it will actually make us less productive as an overall workforce. So the best way to address this is by providing them a legal pathway to citizenship that's quick, where they don't have to leave the country, that gives them an incentive to go through said legal process. And if you want to address the level of taxation for working class people so that people are able to afford the things that they need, well, Kamala Harris, from a national perspective, wanted to decrease taxes for working class Americans and increase taxes only on income over $400,000 a year in order to be able to pay for it.
Yeah, well, under Trump, we just got the biggest tax break for people who make between 30,000 and 80,000 at 17%. And also, the people that are trying to get jobs, mostly in this state, are American citizens who can't find jobs. The statistic of the unemployment for Americans has went through the roof here in this state because we've become a sanctuary state, not just a city. And we see that Chicago is bankrupt. The school system, all the other social programs that happen in the Chicago are bankrupt because of all these extra people that have flooded into the Chicagoland area. I believe it's 400,000 migrants who are now they're all fighting for homes. They're even the black people of the community are now disenfranchised because their property taxes are so high they can't pay that. How is a senior going to pay a property bill tax of like $3,200 when they only get like 1,000 something every month? You watch the Chicago City Council, and you will see that there are real Americans who are hurting because of the displacement of these immigrants.
Okay. So, one, I would like to ask you for a source for any of these points. And two, I
The
want
city
to
council, bud.
and yeah, no, so I would like to see a source so I could verify that information. And two, you said that the middle class, like between 30 and 80,000, receive the biggest tax break that they've seen. That's just not true, because the
17%.
tariffs. Can I please explain?
But it's 17%, which is the biggest tax cut for people in that bracket.
If I let you speak, can I speak as well without you cutting me off?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So
Well,
the biggest.
you're saying that I'm not right when I know I am, because I ain't going to get up here and spew lies to somebody that I don't even know.
Well, I'm just saying that maybe you misunderstand this, and that's okay. Let me just explain it to you and let me finish so that you can understand what I'm saying. Again, the biggest tax break between 30 and 80,000 did not happen because of the fact that there has been an increase in tariffs, which increased taxes for everyone within the country and disproportionately raised taxes for lower and middle income individuals because they spend a greater proportion of their income on consumer goods. And one thing that you're not taking into account is that Kamala Harris would have kept all of the tax cuts through the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act applicable to income earners under $400,000 a year, and she was expanding the child tax credit and the housing tax credit to help stimulate the development of houses in places where people want to live. And then also schools being bankrupt, that would be relative to the specific areas they're referencing and Republican policies because they're not advocating to increase funding specifically to school systems that desperately need the funding. This was pre-immigrants coming to our
I
country.
wish I wrote
Immigrants
all
don't
those
harm this.
different.
They increase our ability to pay for it.
I wish I would have written down all those different things that you went through because I would say like your income tax is what I was specifically talking about. Your income tax were cut if you made between 30 and 80,000, which is the largest tax break for those people in that bracket. The Chicago school system is $394 million in debt because of illegal immigrants. Because now they have to put an interpreter next to that kid, and your kids who are dependent on the
Can I have a
learning
source on that?
of the curriculum are now at a disadvantage to learn in those classrooms because of the interpreters and stuff that's going on in front of them.
Can I have a source for that?
Well, my first source would be Chicago Flips Red, who is headed by Danielle, black lady who is
Hey, I'm just asking you for a source.
Danielle.
Could you provide a
Yeah.
source? You just said that because immigrants are coming to the country, that has caused the Chicago school systems to be underfunded and bankrupt.
Yeah.
So could you please tell me any source that you got this information from?
I watched the news. I watch what's going on in Chicago. It's on the news.
Yeah, but like where on the news could I find this information?
Any number of Chicago, like this Chicago Sun-Times, maybe.
Yeah, no, like could
'Cause
you
I
maybe
read the
do you want
Chicago
to go do the
Sun-Times.
research real quick and then find me a title and bring it back so I could look at the information that you're referencing?
I mean, it wouldn't be so hard to look it up. Are you looking it up? I don't have another device here.
Yeah, well,
But
when I
Chicago
look it
Flips
up, nothing
Red.
comes up.
You need to look. You need to watch Chicago Flips Red, and then the city council meetings that this lady is attending to fight it back against what's going on against the black community. That'll give you a lot of information. Her name is Danielle something, and
I would actually like to see any evidence. I don't think that you have any evidence
Yeah.
justifying that it's immigrants. And I would also like you to
Oh, yeah,
understand that
do.
immigrants increase the level of revenue generated by our society as a whole, therefore
not
increasing
when
our
you,
ability to be able to pay for these systems.
not when you spend billions more dollars by having them here. They are not
Well, then you would
contributing more
actually have
than
to
what
you'd have
is
to
being
justify that
given
they're a
out.
net loss to our system, but you have no evidence to indicate. Undocumented immigrants and documented
Dude, they
immigrants have a
just said.
higher labor force participation rate than natural
Dude,
born
they
U.S.
just said.
citizens.
Okay, they just said they spent over $150 billion across the country just for healthcare for illegal immigrants. Look at the statistic of
Where did you
healthcare
find that?
of immigrants in California.
Yeah, where
In
did you find that? I
California
live in
alone,
California.
it was $25 billion just last year, I believe.
Okay, and what's your point there? Because again, this doesn't mean that
Well, I know that in
they
my
don't
state.
increase revenue that much. And also, I'd like to see the source because you keep making these claims about it being billions and billions of dollars, but it seems like you don't really
Yeah,
have any evidence justifying these, and it's just like we're
in
supposed to trust you.
in 1 year, it was $25.6 billion in healthcare across the nation.
Okay, you just keep making claims. Do you have
It's
any
the
evidence?
facts. Yeah, the news, and not just Fox News, like real
Well,
news.
yeah. Saying the news is not a source.
The news isn't a source for you, bud. You don't watch the news at all. You don't have your own news sources you go to.
I do have the news sources, but like the news isn't a
Well,
specific
then,
news source. I also
well,
just want you
if
to
it,
give me a single evidence indicating a net negative fiscal contribution on behalf of immigrants in general.
the last time I looked, there was $150 billion um across the nation just for education.
Oh, you keep making a bunch of different claims, but there's no evidence
No,
for
it's
that.
150 billion across the country just for education.
And can you provide me a source for that, or are you just going to keep making new claims? It's actually $10 trillion.
Oh
That the
wow. See?
Yeah, we get $10 trillion in revenue. So like it's so much more, right? Because we could just make up claims, right? $10 trillion is what the revenue that the undocumented immigrants bring into our country. So it's like, why would you want to get them out of the country if
Yeah, that's
we can just
that's
claim
total
that 10
bullshit.
trillion is
That's
wait, oh,
that's
so that
three times the more of that. That's three times the more of the revenue that the IRS brings in every year. So you're full of shit, Parker. Later, bitch.
no, that's just true because again, I could just make claims about it. He didn't understand. He just got mad and ran away instead of understanding the point that I was making, that we don't just make claims about things that occurred. We have to provide evidence for them. So he just got super mad and ran away instead of wanting to actually have a conversation with me. I was so nice to him, and yet he still just got super angry. But let's go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you do meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. If he stops having a temper tantrum, maybe he can join back up on the live and finish the debate with us. But I don't know if he'll stop doing that. Let's go on the next individual. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed in the TikTok screen. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Yo, what's up? How old
My
are you?
bad. 21,
Do you support Donald Trump?
of course.
If you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for? Oh, they just left. Okay. Let's go to the next individual. Only send a guest request if you do meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Alrighty, let's go to the next individual. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed in the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Please, everybody, only send a guest request if you do meet that set of criteria, again, listed on the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Let's get the next person up here. Let's go to the next individual. Only send a guest request again if you meet that set of criteria listed on the TikTok screen. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. It'll help get out to more people as always. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Yo, what's up? How old are you? Alrighty, let's go to the next individual. Only do send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria again listed on the TikTok screen, everyone. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
I'm 21.
Do you support Donald Trump?
Yes,
If you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
Donald Trump.
And what's your birth year?
2004.
2004. What month?
April.
When did you graduate high school?
I didn't go to high school.
Okay, they were laughing. I feel like they were trolling. Let's go to the next individual. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed in the TikTok screen. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
18.
Do you support Donald Trump?
Yep.
What's your birth year?
2007.
And if you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
Donald Trump.
For sure. I have a few people to thank, and then we can move on to our conversation. Do give me a second to thank some people real quick. Kirsten, thank you so much. Really appreciate the $5. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, yes, I doubt he took that into account. Romy, thank you so much for the $25. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Honestly, absolutely horrible. Thank you so much, Romy. Jared, thank you so much for the $2 and for the $2 as well. Thank you so much. They said he's full of it. I live in Illinois. Mary, thank you so much for the $5. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Carmen, thank you so much for the $3. Sierra, thank you for the $10. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. And Talia, thank you so much for the $2. Thank you. Kayla with $1 as well. And then I have some people to thank on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. It'll help get it out to more people. We're going to go into this conversation in a second. Naomi, thank you so much for the $10. I really appreciate it. Thank you. It was pretty crazy. Sappho, thank you so much for the $5. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Fashi, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $5 as well. Thank you so much. Absolutely. I appreciate it. Thank you. Coral, thank you for the $20. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I hope you are too. Barika, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $2. Fashi, thank you so much for the $10. I really appreciate it. Thank you. As well as Cheesy, thank you so much. I really appreciate the 10. And Adam, holy shit, thank you for the big guys ride. Can we get some W's for Adam in the comment section? Thank you so much for the big guys ride and the treasure chest. Thank you so much. Holy shit, Adam. Thank you. W's for Adam in the comment section right now. Thank you so much, Adam. Alrighty. So why do you support Trump?
I would say that like I support a lot of his policies. I don't think he's necessarily a good person, but I just think he was better of the two candidates. And of course, I wasn't 18 in the last election, but I mean, I've grown up conservative and like tried to form a lot of my opinions and stuff and like actually educate myself rather than just believe what my parents believe. But in the next election, I align more with Trump's policies than necessarily
Okay, but like,
Kamala's.
why is that? Like, what particular policies are you referencing?
More economic than anything.
Economic? Like, what economic policy?
Like I think, obviously, I think that securing the borders and having a strong border policy is good for the economy.
Okay, how so?
Well, a lot of times when we allow like free borders, people that come into the country and they don't go through the legal process of becoming a citizen. They,
Why are you doing that middle of the stream, dude? What's the point of doing that? I'm just gonna kick him. What type of crazy fucking thing to do? Let's go to the next individual. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed in the TikTok screen. We were just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
No, it says Jill. I'm on my girlfriend's account, but I'm 22, born in 2003.
Oh, what did he do, chat? He literally just spammed like some loud noise. So, I
Can you
didn't
hear
see
me?
any gift that sent in. So maybe that was a gift. I didn't see any gift that was sent in. But yeah. So yeah, what's your birth year?
2003.
Okay, and if you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
Trump.
Okay, why do you support Trump?
Again, I think it's the economic policy. Just kind of immigration is a big one for me, and honestly, that'll wrap it up. I think abortion's a big one for me too. But it kind of goes all over the place. I'd like to hear some of your points and kind of go from there.
Okay. Be specific on what your points are, and then we can talk about it. Like, what about your points? Be specific.
Yeah, like let's see.
They just left too. Okay. And by the way, everyone, I would get a notification if they sent a gift. There wasn't, unless you got the gift noise, like, I don't know, like fucking a few minutes later, that would make any sense, or like a minute later. And if it did, who cares? They can hop back in the guest box. Let's go back on to the next individual. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed in the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
28.
Yeah, and if you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
Trump.
Okay, and what's your birth year?
97.
For sure. And why do you support Donald Trump?
Parker, remember like a week ago we had that talk about Stormy Daniels?
Oh, have I just talked to you recently?
Nah, it was not a talk. It was like you had to reset because of the missing, I don't know, something.
You just said that we had a conversation a week ago.
It was not a conversation. It was like just maybe a couple seconds and then you had hit a restart. But yeah, I was wrong. It was not $600,000. It was something less. But defamation suit was dismissed. So I agree. You was right. But before I even say anything, SA is wrong and Trump is not a good person. But all he had to do was just say, do something about the border, and Canada spent $1.3 billion on their border.
Okay.
Everybody
so-
keeps everybody keeps talking about the southern border, do you know from north how many people coming in?
No, I don't. But the point
You
that
always ask
Okay.
for a okay, sorry, yeah. Go
I
ahead.
yeah, I was gonna ask you, what sources for the 1.3 billion?
It's your favorite one actually.
Okay.
Reuters.
What is it?
Reuters.
Reuters? Yeah, what's the title of that?
Canada spent $1.3 billion.
Yeah. This is from 2024.
Yes.
Okay. Who was in office in 2024?
When he was elected, he said, if Canada don't do something about the border, he'll raise tariffs and everything.
I mean, this is when Biden was in office. I don't
Yes,
see any
but
evidence that it was because of Trump.
it was because of Trump, because he said it and they did it.
Do you have any evidence of that?
The source I just gave you.
What's the title that says that?
That they spent $1.3 billion.
Mm-hmm.
And then Parker, look, right? From Canada, a lot of people were coming in. You want a source? CNN did a whole thing that anybody from New York hop on a bus if they want to go from US to Canada. Hop on a bus, go to Plattsburgh, right? Upstate New York, cross the Quebec province, I think it is, and just walk over to Canada. Same thing goes from over there. So
Okay. Can I ask you a
anybody can do
question?
anything in Canada and just come over here.
How about we start? How we talk about this? Can you tell me like one way it negatively impacts our society for undocumented immigrants who have not committed violent crimes and bad crimes to come here?
So, okay, right? You always say you want to give them pathway to citizenship, right?
Can I have an answer to
I
my
understand your
question?
question. I understand. Yes, I understand your question. Yes, how it harm. But the thing is, how do you know why are they coming over here? Like, why they say they're flying persecution, something, something, something. But how do you know what they did in their country, and they're coming over here?
I'm going to ask you the question one more time. If you don't want to answer the question, I'm just going to not waste my time. I'm not going to do that today. So, would you like to answer my question again, please?
Yes,
Do you remember my question?
yes. You said that how it's harmful, and that's it. That is my point. That they could be a quote unquote a fucking criminal.
Okay, well, did you
We
know that
don't know. We don't know what they did in their country, and they came over here. That's a harmful, no?
Did you know that undocumented immigrants are multiple times as likely to commit violent crime, drug crime, property crime in the country comparative to natural-born U.S. citizens? Did you know that over
Yes,
70% of those detained by ICE have no prior criminal record? Did you know only 5% of those detained by ICE have a violent criminal offense?
but you said what's the harm, and that's the harm. We don't know that if they are criminals. We don't know if what they did, and okay, they could be a criminal in their country. How would we know?
There's a greater harm on our society if we're focusing 70% of our time detaining people who have no prior criminal offenses and only 5% that have had violent criminal offenses, rather than focusing on those that have committed violent crimes or bad crimes deemable of deporting someone. So I think it would make our society safer if we actually address the process through my mechanism rather than yours.
Okay, all right. So could I ask you one more thing?
Sure, but do you want to address what I just said?
Yes, you are okay, you are right. Yes, we can, but at the same point, like you don't know Parker what they did. You don't know. Like if they are violent criminal, they probably unalive somebody, came over here, and now they're just saying they're flying persecution. And there's
So,
no way you
so
can find out.
the
There's
President of the
no
United
way.
States has called for the execution of political opponents within the country. If you're worried about committing violence, then you should
And they
probably look at
said
the person that you're
and
supporting
he
rather than
and he
undocumented immigrants that are coming here for a better life. You understand that
and
in this
better life,
context, only 5% of those.
but they unalive somebody and they came over here
What is the
and now they're
percent?
coming
The
for a better
percent
life.
likelihood of an undocumented immigrant doing that is less likely than a natural-born U.S. citizen.
Okay,
So
but like I
why
said,
are you
now they
not
come
only are
in
you
for a
virtue
better life,
signaling, but you're
but
trying to
now
act
they
like undocumented immigrants are a threat to our country and our society, when actually they're lesser of a threat than literally your neighbor. So I think it's a bit dishonest for you to brand all
So
undocumented
okay,
immigrants
so
in that
they come
manner.
in here for a better life, but they over here and they're doing very stupid fucking things, right?
I don't think undocumented immigrants are doing stupid things. Most of them are not trying to get caught. Most of them are trying to stay in the country for a better life and work so that they can help out
Do
their
you
families and
consider
their communities.
do you consider driving a 18-wheeler is a very professional job?
It depends on what job you're referencing.
18-wheeler, a
It depends.
professional trucker.
Yeah, definitely.
If you go interstate, it's do you think that's like backbone of like America, right?
I think that's an important aspect of the American labor force, but I don't
And
think it's.
since 1930s, right? We have this law that you have to know English, you have to speak, understand, read, write everything English
Not
to
everything
drive
in
a truck.
English. You just
To
have to
drive a
pass.
truck.
No, you have to pass the required criteria to get a license, and to be able to like drive on the roads. And you don't have to fully speak English in order to be able to do that. There are plenty of people
So
that do not
you don't
fully
have
hold
to
up. There are plenty
you
of
don't
people
have
that
to
do not
fully know.
hold up. Can I please finish? There are plenty of people who do not speak fully English in the United States, yet they still drive in the United States and have a license. They're
And
actually like,
that's
especially in certain states in the United States, you can take the tests in different languages.
Parker, you are thinking about a license for a car, a four-wheeler. I am talking about a truck, a CDL. Since 1930s, there's actually laws put in place that you have to know English. But since Obama came in office and he said, no, well, we could give some citations and it's okay. All right. Trump came, nothing. Now, did you see 3 horrific accident happens? The Florida, California, and did you know just like yet on 11th of December, another fucking illegal immigrant,
Hey, can I
he
justify
killed
something?
somebody.
One, there's no evidence undocumented immigrants are more at a proportion to hurt people in terms of driving these vehicles. And secondly, they have to meet a particular standard. So it's read and
You
speak the
have to
English language sufficiently to converse with the general public, understand highway and traffic signs in the English language, respond to official inquiries, right, from law enforcement or inspectors, and then make entries or reports in records such as logs and pre-trip inspection reports in English. That's it. That is the context. Other than that, right, you don't really have to. That you just have to
You
meet that
have
particular
to
proficiency
know the
requirement.
roads. You have to know the road signs to drive a 18
Is
wheeler.
that not what I just said? By the way, you don't have to
Yes,
know
you
English.
did, but you're not
You don't have to
understanding.
be.
As soon as these people get arrested, they go to the court of law and they ask for what? The first thing they ask for is a translator. So they don't know English. The
So again,
first thing come out their
listen.
mouth is we need a translator.
That doesn't
So
change the
that's like they
conditions.
already they so they
Hey,
first they
hey,
they
hey.
first they did a misdemeanor, came in this country, and then they drive in a truck without knowing the English they need, and now they actually killing people, unaliving. I'm sorry.
Hey, dude, can you give me any
In
evidence that
Washington,
can you give me any evidence that undocumented immigrants have a higher proportionality of doing this? And then secondly, if they meet the
DOT,
criteria in order to get the
check,
CDA,
check,
can I
check,
please
check, check.
finish? Can I please finish speaking without you cutting me off? This is annoying. Okay? So please stop. So again, if we're talking about the situation, they just have to meet the particular proficiency requirement. If they meet the proficiency requirement, then they're able to specifically drive based upon having a CDL. Okay? Now, again, this idea that you're referencing that they have to know English within all respects isn't necessarily true. Like, there could be certain types of legal things within the context of the court system where they would require specifically someone to translate, but that doesn't necessarily fit within the purview of what they needed in order to be able to get
Not
a
in the
CDL.
CDL. Not in
Uh,
the CDL. No, though.
I just explained.
If a trooper pulls you over and asks you where you coming from, where you going, you should be able to answer this question.
So that technically is already within the CDL English proficiency requirement.
And then and a lot of them not able to answer this question.
Okay, so if there's a certain undocumented immigrant that is violating the law, and they specifically didn't actually uphold the English proficiency requirements within the CDL,
And
yet
they're
they still
messing
were.
up their
Can I
log
please
books
finish?
too.
can I please finish? And yet they're still driving. That is not representative of all undocumented immigrants, or that they are proportionally more likely to do this. So this argument that you're making a position that like undocumented immigrants are more likely to harm people is not based in evidence, and actually all evidence indicates they are less likely to do so.
Just in Washington, somebody got killed like on 11th, just because people don't know, like they're messing with the logbooks. They're not upholding the law, and you always say Trump this, Trump that, Trump that. Okay, but do you like, you're not gonna consider none of this since you're saying, oh, they can have a translator. No, they have to know English. They have to know what signs we have and the road.
You just keep repeating the same talking point, which I've already responded to multiple times. Do you want me to respond with the same position, or do you want me to just like allow you to keep saying this over and over again without any progress in the conversation?
All right, Parker. I think anytime anybody brings something, CNN did a whole report how people just hop on the plane, go to Canada, cross the border, come over here, and that's a live a life. That's why there's a new law. I mean, it's not a new law, it's a safe third country agreement. Stay over
Can
there.
I ask you
Don't
a
come over
question?
here. Don't come over here. Stay in Canada. Canada's very safe, right? Stay over there.
Can I ask you a question? Can you explain to me why it would be harmful to our country for people to immigrate to our country quickly?
Why they want to come over here if they're in Canada already?
I'm just asking you a question.
Like they
Is
want to
there
just
anything
rig the
harmful?
system again and again. And guess what? They're not getting nothing now. Since they landed in
Hey,
Canada,
hey,
their
dude.
asylum claims.
I'm about to start muting you because you're not answering my questions. I'm trying to be very nice to you, but when I'm asking you
Yes,
specific
sir.
questions, and then you just say random things that do not relate to the questions I asked you, I really question whether or not you're actually engaging in a conversation with me, or whether or not you're just coming up on the stream in order to just say whatever you feel like.
Yes, sir.
Okay? So you can engage with my conversation here, or you can leave the live. That's your choice.
I said what I said. Thank you for having me here.
Oh, so you don't want to engage in a conversation?
Because I don't really understand, like, because you keep saying how they're not harmful, how they're not harmful. They're getting on the roadways, they're doing this stupid shit, and now they have a scheme of getting their license, even CDL and the cars, like they're paying people and they're having somebody else take the test and they're getting their license.
Okay,
You're gonna say, give you the
so
source.
if they're
This is on
violating the
DMV.
law, hey dude, if they're violating the law,
Paying somebody to get
then
a license is
listen,
not violating the law.
yeah, I just told you if they're violating the law, then obviously in that circumstance, they would be held accountable for violating the law in that particular manner. What you're not understanding is that most undocumented immigrants are not doing this. So when you try to prescribe that undocumented immigrants are doing this, even at a higher likelihood, well, there's no evidence for you to justify that. And your argument here is just generalizing undocumented immigrants, and it's harming them, and you're not giving any reason as to why it would be more applicable to them than the average person. Because there are plenty of other people that don't have the ability to drive very well and could specifically get a CDL without having a justification of getting that CDL, who are U.S. citizens, and could harm people in that context, yet you're not going to brand all U.S. citizens in that context. But for some reason, people love to make generalizing claims about undocumented immigrants without good reason.
Yeah, you as American go to a different country, right? And if they're doing their crimes and everything, okay. But if you do it, they're gonna label. Guess what? They're gonna say, "Oh, this American came in this country and he did it," right? If we go to some other country, what they're gonna say? American came and he did this.
So just because another country views us in a particular way doesn't necessarily mean that we have to use that same reference for viewing other people coming to our country. I have no issue with people coming to our country, right? And again, being a very quick process for them to come here. I love immigration. I think it's an important aspect of our culture, our society, our economy. And I think that many people that are fear-mongering about immigrants
So can I
are
ask you
just
one
trying to use
question?
it as a mechanism to get elected, and they're utilizing hate and division to do so, not actual evidence, facts, and reasoning.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
How would you know what they did in their previous life before they came over here?
How do we know?
What's the best way to do it? What's the best way?
So we're going to have some sort of vetting process to be able to identify that. And can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Wouldn't this also be true about legal immigrants? That we have to vet them?
Yes.
That they need to go through a process? That there could be some complications with getting information about their life before they moved here? Regardless of whether or not they're legally coming to the country? So why is this something you only apply to undocumented immigrants, but you don't apply to legal immigrants?
You're right. But that's why I asked you, how would you know?
You could say the same thing for a legal immigrant.
No, but how would you like find out?
To ask you a question, are you an immigrant?
No.
You're not? Are your parents immigrants?
Yes.
Do you think that it would be justified to say this about your parents when they were coming to the country?
They had to give like a clearance from the the police station, I believe.
So there has to
And
be a vetting
then
process, and we can provide a vetting process for undocumented immigrants. But the manner in which you go through the process, the vetting process, is the same. So this argument you're making here could actually have been used against your own family. And I don't think it's a legitimate argument because I do think that we could determine that your family was safe to come to our country through a vetting process in the same way that we could utilize a vetting process to provide that same sort of mechanism for undocumented immigrants that are already in the country. Because again, over 70% of undocumented immigrants that are already in the country that are being detained by ICE have no prior criminal record. Only 5% that are detained have a violent criminal offense. So the idea here that I'm pointing to here is that most people who are in the country undocumented are not here to hurt us. They're not here to harm us. They're not here to just live off of us. They're here for a better life, to live the American dream, and they are coming here, and it's helping us. It's paying for our family members to be on Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and all these different social services that we rely on, because it grows the size of our GDP, it grows our productivity, and increases our tax revenue and ability to be able to pay out for these programs.
so it's justifiable for a undocumented immigrant to have Medicaid.
I believe everyone in the country should be given access to healthcare, and I believe undocumented immigrants, if they haven't committed a violent crime or bad crime, should be given a pathway to citizenship where they don't have to leave the country. Appreciate the SpongeBob gift. Thank you.
So even the Medicaid,
Yeah, if they meet the income requirements. Yeah, that's after they
yeah,
get citizenship, by the way, because you have to be a citizen
what
in order to qualify.
Medicaid
Yeah.
in state of New York? No,
Oh, in New York, you still do.
oh no.
Yes, you do. Could you provide me a source that says otherwise?
There you could go on NewYork.gov and you could find it.
Yeah, and it says you have to be a citizen if you look at the qualifications.
No, I've seen a lot of people. They have it. They just have it.
Yeah, and so you're saying that you know people that have commit fraud and you didn't tell on them?
It's not a fraud. It's
Wait,
not fraud.
yeah, it is.
State of New York.
You just said someone who's not a citizen is getting access to Medicaid, right?
Yes.
So then, like, they're committing fraud, right? You know that they're committing fraud, and you're not
State of
telling
New
on them?
York gives you State of New York gives Medicaid to these undocumented immigrants. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
I don't know any undocumented immigrant that got specifically access to Medicaid because of the New York's policy. Now, there could be some conditions for access to housing in certain circumstances, but Medicaid, I never saw any evidence indicating that. So if you'd like to provide me a source for that, I'd love to see it.
Perfect. All right. State of New York. Check it out. People have it over there.
So why don't you go and find the source for me real quick? Is that okay?
Okay.
Alrighty, perfect. Perfect. A few people to think in the meantime, everyone. A few people to think. Can we get some W's in the comment section right now? Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Caitlin. Thank you for the $40. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Give me some W's for Caitlin in the comment section right now. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Give me some W's for Caitlin in the comment section right now. I really appreciate it, Caitlin. W's for Caitlin in the comment section right now. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. W's for Caitlin in the comment section right now. Thank you for the $40. Deline, thank you so much for the $4. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Give some W's for Deline in the comment section. Benjamin, thank you so much for the $10. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Benjamin. Scott, thank you for the $41 on PayPal. Thank you so much, Scott. I really appreciate the $41. Give some W's for Scott in the comment section as well. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Scott. Gabrielle, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $1. Thank you. Lindsay, thank you so much for the $10. I really appreciate it. Melanie, thank you so much for the $20 on PayPal. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Give some W's for Melanie. Libby, thank you so much for the $10. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, you could be you could have a green card and have Medicaid. That's true. That's true. I meant to say like you have to be legally in the country. I have a few more people to thank. Peyton with the $50 on Venmo for the Colt fees. Can we get some W's for Peyton in the comment section right now for the $50 on YouTube? Or I mean, not on YouTube Super Chat, on Venmo. Thank you so much. Get some W's for Peyton in the comment section right now. Thank you so much, Peyton. I have a few more people to say thank you to. Elle, thank you so much for the hand heart. Doug, thank you for the $20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Literally, though, that's why we need to talk about proportionalities and evidence and not just use anecdotes. Totally agree. Thank you so much. Chalupa Batman, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Ariai, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $5. Naomi, thank you for the $10. Again, thank you. I think I'm fully caught up. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. We've been on live for about 45 minutes, meaning we have another 3 hours and 15 minutes or so left on the live, everyone. So if you want to support me, as always, make sure to hit that thumbs up, everyone. It will help get it out to more people, everyone. Alrighty.
Like, Parker, I can't find the source, but
Alrighty. So yeah, did you you couldn't find the source, so then yet you still believe it?
yeah.
Okay. So you still believe it, yet you have no evidence,
'Cause
yet
I
you
know,
just tried to
'cause
look
I
it up
know,
and couldn't find the source.
because I know, 100%. Like as you said, the shelters. You could just walk up to a building in the Bronx, and you go in, and they could provide you a shelter,
So why
and
did,
then they put you in
so why
a,
doesn't everyone do that?
they put you in. That's something I really not I don't know. Like there's an actual building. It's called PATH, PATH. You go, get in the line, any time of the day. They start the intakes in the morning, and you go get shelter. I don't know why people live on the
So
street.
you're
I
talking about
don't
homeless
understand.
shelters.
Yeah, and they put you in an
Okay, so what's
apartment
wrong
very
with there being a
fast.
homeless shelter?
It's not wrong being a homeless shelter. Why citizens can get it and why they can get it?
Wait, citizens can get access to homeless shelters.
They
It's just
can, but like they scrutinize. Like they go, they just say, "Oh, we don't have nothing. We don't have social security. We don't have. We just all we have is
so.
like
So
a
what we need to do is
this.
we need
All
to
we have is
fund.
like
Wait,
a
so then what we
paper
need to
from
do?
a camp we came, and
So
then that's it. And we need a shelter, and they put you in a fucking hotel, and that's it.
So what we need to do is we need to invest in these systems to a greater extent. What you're talking about is asylum seekers who are going through the country through a legal process, getting access to housing in severe weather conditions. Okay. That's what you're talking about. These are legal asylum seekers, people in the country legally. This is not Medicaid, right?
And
You have
then they
moved the
give you,
goalposts.
they give you the health and stuff over there too. You go in the shelter and you get it.
Okay, so you said. Okay, so you just keep repeating the same talking point. Do you want to give me any more information?
No, it's not. I told you it's a building. You go, you just show a piece of paper that this is your name, and they put you in a hotel, and that's it. But as a citizen, you go, they want to see your birth certificate. They want to see your mom's like 2-year letter that they kicked you out, and then they want to see a whole lot of things before they even like.
All right. Is there
take you
anything
for
else
an
you want to talk
interview.
about or add before I go into the next person? I feel like there's nothing productive happening in this conversation, to be totally honest with you.
Can I ask you one last question before I go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there anything Trump could do so you could start supporting him?
Nope. He's a rapist. I wouldn't support him.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there anything you could do that you would get him to stop? You would stop supporting him based upon?
Yeah, I saw a lot of pictures of the Epstein thingy, but if that proves that he was like there, yeah, fuck that guy.
Okay, well, you should check out the pictures that just dropped. It shows that he was particularly with a lot of people, that he was obviously a failed with Epstein. He was best friends with him for like 10, 15 years. He said that he was a terrific guy, likes beautiful women as much as he does, many of them on the younger side. So you should take a look into that. Let's go on the next individual. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed in the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Only send a guest request if you do meet that set of criteria listed in the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hello,
How old are you?
I'm 20.
Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
What's your birth year?
What's my birth year?
Mm-hmm.
2002.
That was atrocious math. Let's go to the next individual. Only send a guest request if you do meet that set of criteria listed in the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Alrighty, do give it a second for people to join up, everyone. We are just looking for some debates. Do give it a second for people to join up. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
40.
Do you support Donald Trump?
I do. I just come on here to make a point with what he was trying to explain to you on the FMCSA rules. Rule 391.11 is what he was referring to. And
Okay,
that
and what is
rule
this?
happens to be, these are the federal motor carrier rules for 18-wheelers. That's what the FMCSA is. And that rule, in part, here, you have to be at least 21 years old. Part 2, can read, speak English language sufficiently to converse with the general public and to understand highway traffic signals in the English language and to respond to official queries and to make entries or reports on record.
Yeah,
So yes,
I already addressed
it's
this.
100% the law.
I already addressed this.
It's
I
not
already said
okay to
this.
just pick and choose which laws we follow. Can we agree on that?
No, it does make sense.
If it's the law, that's the law. You can't just pick and choose what laws you go by.
Yes, you can. That's how we do. That's how we enforce laws all the time. We're currently on TikTok that is banned by the government. There's a bill passed in Congress to ban this app, and it's just not being enforced by the Trump administration. So, what do you mean that there are certain laws that?
So what's the purpose?
There aren't
What's the
certain laws
purpose
that
of
we can
laws?
choose to. Can I
Laws
please
and
finish?
rules.
I would love to address this, but I have to be able to finish. There are certain laws on the books that we do not enforce and certain laws on the books that we do enforce. That's very reasonable from anyone's perspective. And then I also do want to address this. Like the point you made, I had already talked about and brought up on the stream.
What's the point in laws and rules if we just pick and choose which ones we want to follow?
It's to protect the safety.
Why would we have one?
Okay. It's to protect the safety and security of our community. And there are certain laws in the books that haven't necessarily.
That's the reason
finish?
for that rule.
Hey, I let you speak. I would love for you to let me finish. Is that okay?
Go ahead.
Yeah, there are plenty of laws in the books that we don't enforce. Given that you believe that every single law should be enforced, there's two big issues that I see, or actually more than that, but we'll address those first. One, why are you using an illegal app that's been banned by the federal government that's just not being enforced by the Trump administration to be illegal? And two, why did you vote for a convicted criminal, Donald Trump?
As far as the convicted criminal thing goes, What was the charges on? It was 34 counts of the same thing. That was the first time ever, right?
No, it wasn't the first time ever, but would you like to address my points? He still was convicted of 34 felonies. If you think that there was an issue with violating the law, and you think that people should be held accountable for violating the law, you voting for Donald Trump ensured that he wasn't held accountable for violating the law.
So because I'm not the one who said that it's a bad that you can blatantly be in trouble. People get in trouble all the time. There's felons all over the place. Just because they're a felon don't mean they're a terrible person either. You don't know anybody who's ever been in trouble, been arrested, got a ticket, been in jail?
No,
I'm just saying that is what the law states. That's the only reason I came up here is to point out the law that he was referring to.
Yeah, which I had already
I was
talked
given
about
the source that you were asking for.
Which I had already talked about if you watch the stream. Secondly, the points that we were making demonstrate that, again, not every single law is necessarily enforced. Some laws in the books aren't, and that's totally okay. And you completely are okay with Trump violating the law in terms of 34 felonies. You didn't have an issue with that, yet you still voted for him. So the issue that I obviously see as present is that you care about laws when in reference to undocumented immigrants, but you do not care about laws when in reference to the President of the United States for some reason.
Not true.
I did prove that, and I can keep explaining if you'd like.
You can. The horse playing the bullshit that the left has put on Trump, like nobody's been under such a microscope as what the left has put Trump under. Like the left has been so on to every little move he makes. If somebody did that to your life, they would be bound to find stuff and report on it, and then you hype this up to whatever level you guys want with the media, and you guys' strength, like this is all you focus on. Like
So
it's
watch
a
this.
terrible thing for
Watch this.
anybody to hate.
I wouldn't be held civilly liable for sexual abuse. I never in my life said I would date a 10-year-old girl in 10 years. I never in my life have bragged about walking into the changing rooms of naked women while they're changing without their consent and said that I would date, and said an 18-year-old came out, said there were 4 girls as young as 15 years old in these changing rooms. That's never happened to me. Okay? And that never will happen to me. That never will happen to you. I at least hope so. So why are you sitting here defending this on behalf of Donald Trump and saying that we shouldn't be looking at him with a microscope as every other politician?
As an American, you should. I did not vote for Biden, but I did not once ever wish Biden to fail. That would be insane. It directly affects you as an American citizen. Your presidency. You want them to be the best president of your lifetime. You're insane not to.
No, you have to understand that we could hope for the best, but we prepare for the worst, and we know what is likely to happen, especially with Donald Trump, is that he does the worst. Okay, I'm not saying I hope that the worst thing possibly happens. I obviously hope that good things happen. But the reality of the matter is that I can acknowledge, the reality of the matter is that I can acknowledge that Trump does not create the conditions for the best.
That's not true. And you know that's not true, and
It is.
not genuine.
It is genuine. What's it?
Your
disingenuous about what I said?
livelihood depends on him failing. That's why you have everybody has him under such a microscope. If they did that to everybody, like they're gonna find dirt on anybody. Just like I said, it might not be what you're trying to bring up on him, but they're gonna find dirt on you, Parker. They'll find dirt on everybody if you're looked under that way. He's got 330 million people in the United States looking on him, plus everybody else out in the world.
Hey dude, I'm sorry. This is not true for any other presidential candidate that you're referencing. They weren't held civilly liable of sexual abuse. They didn't brag about walking into the changing rooms of naked women while they're changing without their consent. They didn't sexualize their daughter. They didn't do all of these things. So again, why are you sitting here and not acknowledging this? Also, by the way, the president of the United States has called for the execution of his political opponents. Can you name one other president that ran for office that said that?
Pretty certain. Wasn't it Hillary that wanted Trump dead? Wasn't it?
Nope.
I'm
Hillary never called for the execution of his political. Hillary never called for the execution of her political opponents.
That it wasn't called for the execution of his political opponents. It was called. He said for the reasons of treason.
Yeah, he said they
Wouldn't that
committed
be right?
treason. He said they committed treason and seditious
But there,
behavior. Listen,
I came up here for
listen.
one thing. I said what I wanted to say,
So you don't
and
want to
there's
debate
no
me?
talk in any sense. No, because there's no talking sense, and like it's the same rhetoric every time. I just happen to be scrolling past, and he mentioned something about trucking, and I know some trucking rules.
I'm sorry.
So that's
When you say that
why I
there's
came up
no
here.
when you say there's no reason to talk sense, what's the point of that? You don't think that there's reason to think critically and to like question your own belief system?
There's nothing in this world that's gonna change your mind on any view you have. Like
Yeah,
it doesn't
wait, that's
matter
just
what
not true.
anybody
I
says.
have
No, not one person. No, not one person has come on here ever, and you admitted defeat on anything in the 2.5 years you've done this that I've ever
done
come
this for
across.
5 years, and I have changed my mind
Well,
on countless things. I used to be a communist. I'm not a communist currently. I have changed my mind on countless things. The idea that you have in your head that I've never changed my mind, not only is it ridiculous, but it just shows that you haven't watched my stream, and you're not even using this, you're not even willing to engage in a debate with me, okay? I'm literally letting you engage the debate. So what if I don't change my mind? It still got you to critically analyze your own belief system more. It got you to think critically about your own beliefs. So I don't understand why, even if it was the case that I didn't change my mind on this, why you wouldn't engage in this conversation or even try to convince people in the comment section. So either way, aren't there people in the comment section you think that could change their mind?
worth me wasting my time on something that's gonna be mute. Like I'm not gonna change my opinion. I'm
You see what I
comfortable
mean?
with what
You're
I see and
projecting.
what I voted for.
He's
And
projecting.
I'm not, and anything that I say to you is going to be the same. So it's senseless.
No, it's you projecting
It's a
because
conversation
you're
that's not
saying
going to
that
go
no
anywhere.
one can change your mind. That means that everyone, right, it cannot change their mind. That's the perspective that you just said. And that's not true. There are countless people that have changed their minds. I've changed my mind countless times. This idea here that you're referencing that I couldn't change my mind and there aren't people in the comment section that could change their mind, not only is objectively wrong, but shows that you're unwilling to engage in conversations. And I feel like you're using this because it gets you to a point where you don't have to critically analyze your perspective anymore. It's annoying to me that people do this because it is constantly a pivot and deflection mechanism that people use so they don't have to engage in debate, so they don't have to analyze their perspective, so they don't have to self-introspect, so they don't have to change their own mind. And because they can't change their own mind and they don't want to change their own mind, they think everyone else acts the exact same way. And that's simply not the case. I think you're causing divide right now when you're saying that you couldn't change your mind and you think the other side couldn't change their mind at all. You're not even just making a claim about me individually. You're making a claim about the over 7,000 people that are in the live. Hello? Is he going to leave now? Hello? I don't hear you. You're not muted. Someone said 5K, not 7K. Weird flex. I'm sorry. There's 2,700 people on YouTube and 5,000 people on TikTok. I'm not just live here on TikTok. Let's go to the next individual. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria. List in the TikTok screen. If anything, I undershot it because there's 2,700 people on YouTube. Let's go to the next individual. They did just leave. Let's go on the next individual. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. It will help get it out to more people. Yo, what's up? How old are you? How old are you? Let's go to the next individual. Only send a guest request if you do meet that set of criteria, again, listed on the TikTok screen. Again, everybody, we are just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
I'm 50 years old.
And do you support Donald Trump?
After listen to your debate, I think I probably have changed my mind to not supporting him.
Oh, based. I appreciate you very much. I am just looking for people who currently still do support Donald Trump, but I am glad that you've changed your mind. And that is proof right there that people can change their minds. Look at that. Proof that people can change their minds just happened on the stream right after the last person said that you can't change your minds. Like, dude. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
71.
Do you support Donald Trump?
No, I want to clarify.
Well, I appreciate you very much. I am just looking for some debates right now. Only do send a guest request if you do meet that set of criteria listed in the TikTok screen, everybody. We are just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
18.
Do you support Donald Trump?
Yeah.
Okay, if you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
Trump.
And what's your birth year?
2007.
And you said you're 18?
Yeah.
Okay, and why do you support Donald Trump?
Because of his tariffs, and I know you and Dean say a lot that like the tariffs might go like he took them away because they were bad or
What
whatever.
state do you live in?
LA.
That's not a state.
I'm sorry, California.
What time is it?
6:48.
Okay, can you tell me 3 cities in California?
LA. Joking, I actually love you and Dean so much.
Appreciate you. Let's go on the next individual. Only send a guest request if you do meet that set of criteria listed in the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
I'm 22.
Okay, what's your birth year?
2003.
Okay, and what month?
March.
Okay, and if you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
Donald Trump.
Okay, why so?
I used to be a Kamala Harris supporter.
Kamala.
My sister supports Kamala Harris, except me.
Kamala.
I used to support her until Trump made a good plan, the offshore drilling plan.
Are you trolling?
No, I don't troll. I'm not that type of person.
I think you are. Let's go to the next individual. Only send a guest request if you do meet that set of criteria listed in the TikTok screen. Again, everyone, we are just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Yo, Parker.
How old are you?
I'm 18.
And what's your birth year?
2007.
And if you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
Donald Trump, but all the way.
Okay, why do you support Trump?
Right, if it has to be his policies, like on immigration.
Have I talked to you before?
No.
No? Then why do I have people spamming in my comment section that we have?
No, I actually haven't. When was I up here before? Bro, when?
Let's go to the next individual. Only send a guest request if you do meet that set of criteria. List in the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Do you support Donald Trump?
Yeah, for the moment I do. Yep.
Okay. And if you could go back
I got
in time,
a debate for you.
if you could go back
What's
in
that?
time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
I would vote for Trump.
Okay, and why do you support Trump?
Okay, well, I've got the debate I wanted to have with you was, okay, so we were talking about all the felonies. You're referencing all the felonies he had, and I wanted to draw a parallel and see what your opinion was on it. And the parallel would be, I think, like with Trump's courtroom stuff and all those felonies would be real similar to, say, a black man back in the 50s in a trial with an all-white jury and an all-white judge. And that's what it seems, going back and changing the statute of limitations, not changing his venue to where it wasn't just all liberal people. That's my parallel in debate, and I think he kind of got railroaded in that department, But at the same time, and I'll throw in one more thing is, I support him for now, depending on
Before
what
can I
comes out
address
with
that
all
point?
this other stuff. What's
Can
that?
I address that first point real quick?
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
there's a few issues there. I don't think that these are by any means even close to comparable. There's no way you just compared a black man being negatively impacted by the justice system under Jim Crow to Donald Trump in the modern era being held accountable in a criminal court for the felonies that he committed. Now, by the way, I just want to let you know that, again, Donald Trump is not impacted by racism. Donald Trump is not negatively impacted by any of these systems. He's actually at the very basis in which he is benefiting from these systems. So there's no comparable basis to say that. And if you want to say that people politically disagree, well, not everyone politically disagrees, and not everyone specifically had that perspective within the context of the jury, because was a jury selection process, right? And it was a determination from every single person on the jury, when the determination did not have to be from every single person on the jury. Alongside the change of the statute of limitations was not because of just Donald Trump's case, but it's something that allowed for thousands of other victims to hold their abusers accountable in a civil court.
His requests that he had put in, that his lawyer teams, they were all turned down. And I think the jury was biased, and I think they were left-wing primarily. I think same with the judge, and I really think he got railroaded. They didn't give him an inch on any of that, and I think they really went after him and used lawfare. And that's what they did back in the day. I mean, like the stuff, the Jim Crow stuff, yeah, like, proportionately there was probably some more harsher stuff along, back then, but I'm just drawing that parallel is that I just don't think he got a fair shake, and they really, really had to dig up. And then even the people, like the companies they said he was ripping off, they're like, he didn't rip us off. We would do business with him again. I mean, I think they really, really, really just, it was political. To me, it was 100% political.
Yeah, the fraud case that you're referencing, he wasn't held liable for that. If you want to talk about what he was held liable for, the E. Jean Carroll case, where he was held liable for sexual abuse. Can I ask you this question?
Civilly.
Can you name one piece of evidence in the case that you dispute?
Not off the top of my head. That was a little while ago. I don't have like everything in queue for a surprise question for you. But
I mean, it's not like supposed to be a surprise question. I'm just asking for one piece of evidence you dispute in the case.
Let me think here. Or which are you talking about? The Jean Carroll case?
Yeah, E. Jean Carroll case.
I would say, as far as that goes, he was acquitted criminally, but then was found.
No, he wasn't.
I think that was another political.
He was
deal
not
there.
acquitted criminally. That's just not true.
He wasn't guilty of that. He got it in civilly.
Yeah, it was in civil courts because of statute of limitations.
Right.
And again, statute of limitations shouldn't exist for sexual assault cases because it takes decades in many instances for victims to come out.
So what was he convicted of then in the criminal case? What was he convicted of?
The felonies, the 34 felonies for falsifying business records in the first degree, which is a Class C felony in the state of New York.
The Eugene Carroll case.
There wasn't a criminal. That wasn't. How many more times do I have to say this? That wasn't a criminal case.
That's what I was just saying. You just proved my
point.
point.
Hey, dude, I'm explaining it to you. You're not listening. You're not listening.
You're not listening or talking about something else.
Yes, I have. I'm talking about it directly. He was not acquitted of this in a criminal court. It never went to a criminal court. It was in a civil court.
Okay, yeah, right. Okay, so then it was dismissed in a criminal court because he wasn't guilty of it.
It was never dismissed because it never went.
He didn't rape anybody. There was no
yes, he did.
Sexual assault. No.
Yes, there was. So
no, he didn't.
Listen to this.
You have no proof. What
I
proof
do. I can demonstrate to you. You didn't look at the case at all. Okay, because you couldn't tell me one piece of evidence in the case that you dispute. I will tell you if you stop talking over me.
Let's go.
Okay, the criminal case that we were talking about, that was the felonies. That's a completely different case. The civil case never went to a criminal case. It was never acquitted in a criminal case. Donald Trump was held liable in a civil case. He appealed it. He lost the appeal. And the judge said that Donald Trump, in fact, raped E. Jean Carroll because forceful penetration of a woman's vagina against her will is rape. And the entire unanimous decision of 9 people in a jury indicated that to be the case. Okay?
It was her word against his. There was no proof. He did not do it. Look at Donald Trump's kids, then look at Joe Biden's kids. Donald Trump, to some degree,
can I pause
has
real quick?
more.
Can I pause real quick? I don't mean to cut you off. I just want to say that you can't say any DRUG names in specific. Just letting you know. I would have to kick you because it's TikTok TOS. Just letting you know so that you don't. If you have to mention a specific DRUG, just say like FDRUG. Just say CRDRUG. Don't say the specific name. But go ahead.
Okay, gotcha. Well, that was the parallel I pretty much wanted to draw. There was with the, what you referred as the Jim Crow type of thing. But that
can we address what you were just saying about Joe Biden?
Yeah. What do you want to address?
What you were gonna say? Just say what you were gonna say.
I was trying to just shed light on Trump. I think Trump is a lot better parent. I mean, a lot of people will, not be. Trump has more morals in the sense that his kids aren't DURG whatever. They're not in trouble. Like you look at Hunter Biden, and you look at like the photos of him, and like he's got that gun in it, or that pew pew in his hand with his finger on the on the trigger, and then he's got like all this other stuff, these hookers and what kind of parent raises a kid like that? Look at Trump's kids.
Dude, by the
They're
way,
successful.
he's like
They're
50
not
years old,
criminals.
okay? And by the way, Don Jr. and they definitely have used DRUGS. The idea that they haven't is absurd.
I don't have no
Okay?
proof of
And
that.
by the
man.
way,
I'm gonna
Donald
take your
Trump
word for that.
sexualizes his daughter. So if you want to talk about raising your kids in a certain way, I don't think Joe Biden, right,
I'll
was
give you that. I don't like
raising
that
his kids in
statement.
that type of way. Secondly, I just want to acknowledge this. The last candidate was Kamala Harris, not even Joe Biden. And if you have to reach to Hunter Biden,
I know they had to use 2 of them. That's a whole
if you
nother
want to
deal.
reach to Hunter Biden in order to try and make a claim about accepting Donald Trump, it's ridiculous, because again, in the context in which we were referencing Donald Trump, again, he was held liable for this. He was determined in a jury of this. There's evidence of this, and I can tell you what it was. There was DNA on a dress, so that would show that he was at the scene of the crime. There's a picture of them shown together.
Really?
Like, he said that he wouldn't have sexually assaulted her because she's quote-unquote not his type, but then in the deposition, he mistook her with his ex-wife. There were multiple of her friends at the time that verified that she had a consistent story over multiple decades. There was a psychologist that verified the trauma that she went through. There were countless pieces of evidence that we can point to that verify that this occurred. Now, you aren't going to reference any of this. You're going to ignore all of this, and you're going to try and act like there was absolutely no evidence. There was evidence. I've just proven to you now that there was evidence. And in order for him to be held liable in a civil court, it had to have met the standard of evidence. So the idea that you brought up that there is no evidence is a bullshit manufactured lie to defend Donald Trump regardless of the ailments that he has.
Take your word for the evidence you just presented.
What'd you say?
You want me to take your word for the evidence you just provided for me? All that stuff you rattled off, I'm supposed to go, oh, well, Parker said it, so it must be true.
No, you can look into the case. You can look into the
I
court
would have
documents, and I can tell you where to find this. Go to AP News, go to NPR, go to PBS, go to Reuters, and read
All
into the
left-wing
case for the first
outlets.
time, and maybe you'll be able to find some of this
PBS.
information.
PBS, that's a total joke, dude. No, those
No,
are
it's
all
not.
left-wing outlets that have a
No, they're
get
not.
Donald Trump agenda. I wouldn't listen to Jack nothing. I would have to look up
Then just go to the
courtroom
court case.
evidence.
Then go to the
Yeah.
court case.
Yeah, that would be the method.
Yeah, but you've never done that. You never looked into it. You never did research. And yet you're going to say that we're the ones accepting fake news, misinformation, and bullshit when you just claimed that there was no evidence in the case. I just proved to you that there was evidence,
Right.
and then you haven't responded to that at all.
Well, I wouldn't know. You notified me of it. I don't know about proving it.
I proved it to you.
Okay, well, we can agree to disagree.
No, we shouldn't, because there have been 26 plus people that have accused Donald Trump of sexual misconduct. Now, do you think every single one of them are lying?
No, do you think Democrats ever lie about Trump?
There have been some lies spread by Democrats about Donald Trump, but
which
that does
ones
not
am I
mean that
supposed to
everything
believe
said
and
about
which one am I
Democrats
not?
is a lie about Trump. Because again, there are plenty of points that we can point to in terms of Donald Trump has lied about Democrats. Now, that doesn't mean every claim he makes about Democrats is a lie. So that would be like what follows from that.
Right. Well, all right. Well, that's what I wanted to get out and just discuss with you. So,
You don't want
if
to
you
finish
pick
this
up your next
conversation?
guy? Well, I was pretty much done. Unless you want to keep going, do you want to ask me questions or?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Could you name something Trump could do that would get you to stop supporting him?
Well, what's going on? Like, I don't really like to defend him, to be honest with you. He's impossible to defend, and I'm really on the fence about him. Yeah,
Okay,
crazy, huh? I'm about ready to ditch him for good. I voted for him. The reason I would not vote for Kamala in your previous question is just
Kamala.
because of party lines, or whatever. And then so, I'm not a big fan of him right now. Like with all the stuff that's coming out with this Epstein stuff, it's not looking good as far as I'm concerned. But I'm like nanometers away from dumping him, for sure. But he drives me nuts.
You should.
Like, okay, the Nazi thing. Remember when he said there was good people on both sides? All he had to say was, "Hey, Nazis, don't vote for me. You people are disgusting. We defeated you in World War I or II, and don't vote for me." But he couldn't do that. He's got to be like, "Oh, there's good people on both sides." It's like, why the fuck did you say that, moron? You know, it's like, so what? You could burn off 30,000 neo-Nazi votes, right? Instead, he embraces 30,000 neo-Nazi votes and loses millions of, you know, other votes like a dumbass. Look, so he says shit like that. So for me to, you know, he's really hard to defend, you know, as
So why don't you just
a
stop?
right winger.
Why don't you just stop
What's
defending
that?
him? Because you can still be a
I
right
really
winger. You can
don't.
still be
I
a
really
Republican.
don't.
Just say that you don't
I
support Trump
don't.
anymore.
That was the only thing I could think of for a debate was that parallel I drew. That was like the only thing that I could come up with to try to defend him is like, you know, he got railroaded with the biased, you know, that whole deal we just talked about. That was like one thing I actually come up with. The rest of it's like out the fucking window. No, he drives me nuts. He does. And I'm like sick of defending his ass because he shoots himself in the foot all the time. He's like Barney Fife. You're probably pretty little young for Barney Fife, but I mean, it's just, you know, sticks his foot in his mouth constantly when he doesn't have to. It's like, shut up, dude. You know, I'm trying to defend you, and you keep throwing the ball to the other team. It's like being on a football team, and he's like, we're going to go out and win. You better win, you son of a bitches. And then he gives the ball to the other team. It's like, what are you doing, man? I mean, because like I'm a conservative. I'm on the right side. He's our guy, so we got to go with him. He burns off chances um, to win friends and influence people by saying stupid shit. Like he's always like, I shouldn't say that. It's like, well, then don't fucking say it.
Let me pause you
You
there.
know?
So then maybe you should just stop defending him as a whole, and it would make your side look better.
It's getting to that. It really is.
It
It's
should
getting
be there
close.
right now. I mean, he's called for the execution
Yeah.
of his political opponents. He's been held civilly liable of sexual abuse. He's bragged about engaging in sexual exploitation. He's taking children off of free school lunch and breakfast to the tune of 420,000 children on average every single month, while adding trillions
Right.
of dollars to the debt. I mean, he's
Well,
atrocious.
hang on a sec. All that stuff that you're throwing out there, and you could probably keep throwing it out there for another half an hour.
By the way, I
Just
have
that
I
in
have many people that
itself.
are asking if you're Seth Rogen.
And then no, huh? All that stuff you're throwing out is it's like too much overload for me. I don't. It's like Jesus. Does he have to be so controversial? Like, look at all that stuff. Like, some of what you said might be true, some of it's not. I don't know, but it's like it's annoying trying to be taxed with trying to figure all that shit out. So I'm not as pro Trump. I mean, like, I didn't want you to dump me. I wanted to get in here, so I had to kind of pretend like I supported him a little bit. But
Okay,
you know,
so you don't
so
support him at all. Okay, so
not at all.
I'm
Not
just
at
glad to
all.
hear
A
that you
little
don't support
bit.
him anymore. Hey, well, Seth Rogen, I appreciate you coming up on my stream. Thank you so much. I appreciate changing your mind. That's amazing. I'm glad. And also, I think it's important for Republicans like that to exist, to, from their own side, give pushback to people like Donald Trump. So I appreciate it. I appreciate it. That's amazing to hear. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Alrighty, let's go to the next individual. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen to help get out to more people who can see W's for Seth Rogen in the comment section right now. Shannon, thank you so much for the $5. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Amraphel, thank you so much for really appreciate the $5. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Benjamin, thank you for the $2. And thank you for the $1. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Amraphel said, I grew up when I was a conservative when I was a teenager, and I grew up when I went to college and got a job. And when I got a job, I became a union supporter and a flaming liberal. Thanks to life for that happening. Thank you so much, Amraphel. It's amazing to hear. W's for Amraphel in the comment section right now. Thank you. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. It'll help get it out to more people. Let's go on to the next individual quick. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen, everybody. As always. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Alrighty, let's go on the next individual. Everybody, only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed in the TikTok screen. We are, again, just looking for some debates, everybody. Alrighty. Let's go on to the next individual. Only send a guest request if you do meet that set of criteria listed in the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. You're disgusting. I hope you step on some Legos with your bare foot. Let's go on the next individual. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed in the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed in the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
He's right. He's basically talking about how the Democrats have.
Okay. Let's go on the next individual, everybody. Only send a guest request if you do meet that set of criteria listed in the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed in the TikTok screen. Was that Fox? Probably. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Piker, you're my dad, Piker. I love you.
Okay. Let's go to the next individual. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed in the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
You're a faggot. Fuck you. Faggot, faggot,
disgusting.
faggot, faggot, faggot,
Yeah,
faggot.
I hope you step on some glass. Let's go on the next individual. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed in the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed in the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Let's go on the next individual. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Let's go on the next individual. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed in the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
28.
What's your birth year?
1997.
Okay. And if you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
Donald Trump.
Okay. And why do you support Donald Trump? Actually, what's your birth year? You said 1998?
1997.
Okay. What month?
April.
Okay. And when did you graduate high school? What year?
I didn't go to high school. I only passed middle.
Let's go to the next individual. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria listed in the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Only send a guest request if you do meet that set of criteria listed in the TikTok screen. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
34.
Do you support Donald Trump?
Yes.
If you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
Trump.
Okay, why do you support Trump?
Parker, hear me out here. You've been lying to these people for too long. Too long, buddy.
Okay, what lies?
What do you mean, what lies? Buddy, can you really sit there and tell hundreds of thousands of people, however fucking many people, that Trump is a quote-unquote pedophile, Trump is destroying the country? Dude, how old are you again? 22, 23?
Yeah, I'm 23.
Okay, so you have no idea what the fuck the Democrats have been doing to this country the past 4 years.
Would you like to tell us what you think has been so bad?
Yeah, I will actually. So, what was it? 2 years ago, 2021 is when a bunch of niggers.
So disgusting. Let's go to the next individual. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria. List on the TikTok screen. We are just looking for some debates. Only send a guest request if you meet that set of criteria. List in the TikTok screen. Trump supporters are scared to debate. Trump supporters are being cowards. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hey, I'm 19.
What's your birth year?
2006, September.
Okay, and if you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
Yeah, well, I actually didn't vote, but, I guess if I could go back in time. I mean, at this point, I don't know. Probably Kamala at this point, but
Kamala's based. Well, that's the point of this live stream. Appreciate you coming up. We are just looking for people specifically who still do support Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates, everybody. Yo, what's up, how old are you?
I am 44.
If you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
Trump.
Okay, why do you support Trump?
So my reasoning, I actually fall quite a bit down the middle, but to be very honest, it had a lot to do with the border. So I don't quite understand the Democrats' view on the border or why you wouldn't support that and a closed border.
Okay, yeah, so there's a few things here. I don't believe that the Democrats are advocating for an open border. I think the Democrats are advocating for more strict conditions for the border than I would even advocate for. I think we should be focusing on going after people who have committed violent crimes and bad crimes deemable to deport someone. And I don't think that most undocumented immigrants are a threat to the safety and security of our country. I believe that there's a big issue with saying that because over 70% of people have who have been detained by ICE have no prior criminal record, right? Only 5% of people who are detained by ICE have a violent criminal offense. So given that this is the set of conditions that exists, why would we say that we would want our border enforcement, law enforcement, to be focused on, right, those that are not a threat to the safety and security of our communities, rather than those who actually are a threat to the safety and securities of our communities?
But there are, though. There's so many. They've shown so many that have crossed the border that are, or that even came in through the Afghan program that was unvetted completely. That was one of them that was involved in the shooting of the National Guardsman that came through the Afghan program that was unvetted through Biden's administration. So
you just said that they were unvetted. That's actually not true. One, they actually were affiliated and working with the CIA, so they went through actually a greater level of vetting than any person would through the immigration process. Secondly, they were actually accepted in terms of their asylum claim under the Trump administration.
to my knowledge, they were unvetted. I have not seen that claim.
Nope, they were vetted by the Trump administration.
But I still hold very strong to the fact that there are so many people that were let in under the Biden administration, also through Kamala. She was actually deemed the border czar, which that has, went back in time and said, no, she wasn't called that, but that actually was given her responsibility at the start. And there's tons of articles that say she was given that responsibility. She was given the title border czar. Like, I've seen it with my own eyes, but there are so many that came across that border. And so I just don't understand exactly why, the Democrat side is so against the ICE enforcement. I mean, to the point of trying to dox them, everything just against them for doing what's right for our country. I mean, we're under a very big threat right now. So that's been my biggest stump.
Okay. So one, she wasn't the border czar. Like there actually aren't specifically justifications to indicate that, or any evidence to indicate that she was the quote-unquote border czar or granted that by Biden. Actually, what she was granted to do in terms of authority from Biden was to raise private funds for Central American countries to reduce the likelihood of people coming here based upon economic insecurity, which she raised over $5 billion in private funds to do so. And the reason why we're against ICE is because of how they're acting. They're violating people's due process rights. They're going in and stripping people out of the communities in which they live in, who are not a threat to the safety and securities of these communities. They're going after children. They're going after people that are literally in the immigration court system, that are at their court date, right? They're not going after, right, the worst of the worst. They're not going after the violent criminals or the gang members. Mostly, they're going after people who have no prior criminal record. Again, over 70% of those that are detained by ICE have no prior criminal record. So if ICE focused on those that actually are a threat to the safety and security of our community, I bet most people would definitely be a lot happier with their existence, right, in terms of like within the federal government.
But they essentially are. They crossed. So like I actually have family members also who, not direct family members, in-laws, who actually had to come across the correct way. And they feel like they were cheated because they had to come across the correct way, and other people just, jumped across the border illegally. And so that is breaking the law, essentially. So why are they allowed to do that and stay in the country and not be sent back and have to do it the right way, like so many other people had to. That's penalizing people who did it the right way.
Yeah, so I do believe in a quicker legal pathway to citizenship, and for those that have violated the law and come to our country undocumented, if they haven't committed a violent crime or bad crime, I believe they should be given a pathway to citizenship, because we have to realize our current immigration process takes too long and costs too much. And oftentimes,
No,
Trump
I agree with
supporters
that.
utilize that as a reason to justify why Trump is violating people's due process rights when deporting them, because it would, take too long to go through the court systems and cost too much. Right? Those are the exact reasons they use to violate the law in deporting them. So I think it would actually make most sense for us not to violate the law when deporting them, and to support the Democratic policy to a greater extent. Now, I'm not saying the Democratic policy is perfect. Again, I have disagreements with the Democratic Party policy, but I definitely think it's preferable to Trump's. I just think that the Democrats sucked at explaining it and having that conversation. They weren't on social media. They weren't where people are specifically getting their media now. And that's why Democrats lost out, is because they had a horrible time communicating the effectiveness of the policies they advocate for.
Maybe. I mean, that may. I strictly do not. I do not get my news from mainstream media whatsoever. All independent journalists, just because there's so much bad media out there about things. And I do see. I have friends who are ICE agents. To be quite honest, I hear some stories from them, and I do see some of the stories. Like the veteran that was deported. I 100% don't agree with that. If he was good enough to fight for our country, he's good enough to stay in our country, to be honest. So I have disagreements as well, but I fall more conservatively. Of course, now years ago when Trump first ran, I was actually against Trump, but then the Liberal Party definitely pushed me too far with a lot of the extremes that they've done, and pushed me the other way. So,
I just don't accept that, because I don't think there's really anything extreme about the current Democratic Party. And I think the current Republican Party, everything about it is extreme. Hell, they just canceled Marjorie Taylor Greene because she wanted the Epstein files to be released. They literally canceled her. They care about loyalty. They care about the in-group. They don't give a shit about the country and working with people and compromising and what you're supposed to do in the context of government. They care about
the
power.
The far right. There's the far right. There's the far left.
That's who's controlling your party right now. Who canceled Marjorie? That was Trump.
Oh, I know. I completely see that. I do understand. If you go against him, if you don't fall in line straight with him, then he's against you. I do agree with that. But
that's crazy.
Would I rather have him and that side in office than Kamala, and things had been kept going the way they were going? No.
But what about their policy was bad? I know there are a lot of these narratives that are created because, again, Democrats just love letting Republicans create all these unjustifiable narratives without giving the proper response to it, right? And without actually putting enough pushback within the mainstream about it. So, what about it? What about their policy in specific?
So one big one is the AB policy, for sure. I can't follow along with some of the policies that were being, for instance, I'm in Texas, so it's much stricter laws here. They were very much for, it seemed like, as far and long term as they could for a person to have that done. And so, and conservatives are not. We're definitely not for that. We're for, we're pro, birth, but I also fall in the line with what is done for the mother after, not much, so I have my bias to that, but I do think that they were pushing more for AB to be legalized in all states at any term, is what it seems to me.
So let's address this. Democrats, they support Roe versus Wade, which says prior to viability, there's federally protected access to abortion. After viability, it's left up to the states. Under Donald Trump's presidency, throughout all points within the context of a pregnancy, it is up to the states. So the only distinction between the policy is whether or not there's federally protected access to abortion prior to viability. So what's wrong with that position under your view?
Well, I think that's where the argument is where is it viability? You know,
That's
where do you
determined by
draw that line?
doctors and medical professionals, which is typically around. It's been as early in some instances, like a few instances, like up to like a bit after 20 weeks, but it's typically between the like 22 through 26, if not later.
See, and
So
I believe is at conception. So
no, no,
that's
no, no. We're
where,
talking about viability. Life begins at conception, cellular life.
yeah.
I think we value sentient life, which doesn't happen till 20 through 24 weeks. But I do think that if we're referencing viability, this is about whether or not it has the capacity to live outside of the womb.
Well, and that's the debate. That's the heavy debate. Is a lot of us don't believe that. We believe that from conception is when the cells are formed, the DNA is formed. It's essentially a baby. That's where the disagreement lies a lot with both sides, I think. So, I mean, I've seen your debates, with Charlie Kirk for that in that instance. So I know how you feel about that, and I know, that argument, and I do side with the conservative side with that. So that was another concern of
So
mine.
let me clarify us here. Do you believe in like that abortion should be illegal? Is that based upon your religious views?
It's not. It is a little bit. It is a little bit. For the most part, I am a Christian, so it is to some degree that. But it's just I think for everyone that I have seen a video of that performed, and it affected me very much to the point where I became very sensitive to it. So
Oh,
even
okay.
at that early
Wait,
point,
I understand that, and that totally makes sense. But the point we would make is that you could disagree with it from your own perspective and not get one yourself, but while simultaneously saying it should be legal for others to get if they choose to do so. It's about that
I'm not saying a
choice.
complete ban. I'm not saying a complete ban. I'm saying there are instances where it should be allowed, but they're very, very few and far between. Because I do see, I've seen in a lot of debates where someone did have a child and it was by a very bad circumstance, but there was very good that came out of it, and they were testimony to that. So, I know it's to each their own, essentially, but that's just my belief.
So should it be up to legal access? Like, should people legally be able to get access to one in like an elective circumstance?
In certain circumstances, yes, I do
No,
think
I
so.
meant like in an elective circumstance. Like, say my girlfriend got pregnant. If I paid for her abortion, should I go to prison?
Well, no, I don't think you should go to prison for it. I
So
don't
you don't
believe it.
view it as murder? Because if you did view it as murder, well, then under
I
that
do
view,
think
you would
it's,
have thought that I just paid for a hitman to go
well,
take out and kill a baby.
but essentially that is deemed that, because like if someone goes and kills a pregnant woman, it's homicide on, if they are pregnant, it is considered murder
Yeah, because it's
because they are,
considered, yeah, and because someone could say it's considered an unjustified termination of life for two individuals. Now,
yeah.
I view it in the context of personhood. So it would be an unjustified termination of pregnancy and an ending of a life prior to the point of sentience. After the point of sentience, it would be considered double homicide.
Yeah, but from what I understand, it's considered that even before that. If a woman is
And again, I just told
pregnant,
you, and I just told you,
then
that is true. In that context, you
yeah.
could still take that into account.
Yeah. So
Right,
I
like,
mean, I'm a woman, and I get where women are coming from with it completely. I just that's I would never do it personally, and I try not to be judgmental of other ones, but I do think there are circumstances where it should be allowed, but for the most part, I think the liberal side was very much for allowing it clear up to almost full term is what I was seeing.
again, there's no difference after viability because it's left up to the states regardless. By the way, your microphone has like this like weird sound to it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm just talking. I don't have a microphone. I'm talking into my phone.
Is there a way you could maybe mute your microphone and then unmute it? Maybe that would help it, or maybe swipe out, swipe back in, just because it does have like this like almost like ringing noise.
Is that better?
I think it's fine now.
Okay, I muted it and then unmuted it, so I'm not sure. But yeah, no, that's just
Okay, I think
just
there's a little bit of feedback maybe with the microphone. Is there a way you can turn down your volume a little bit?
Oh, yeah, let me see. How's that?
I think it's better now.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So anyway, so yes, that's my view on that. Those are things like that that have kept me from where I used to be, where I did used to fall definitely more liberal. I, was more for Obama. I was not for Trump. I was actually scared to pieces for him to be put in office. And then it flipped in 2020. So the party just went way too far left for me. So and
So like,
pushed me.
could you name like what specifically is too far left? Because I would point to like Trump and be like, he literally called for the execution of some Democrats because they said to not uphold unlawful orders. Right? I think that
Oh yeah.
is like something that, again, any pro-life individual should say, that's too far. That's straight up
No.
calling
Yeah.
for, like, straight up posting death threats on social media.
Yeah.
And if Joe Biden
Yeah.
did that, you would think it's unreasonable for any Democrat to support them. So I think that if
No.
anyone has gone too far, it's been Donald Trump and the Republicans that are justifying literally execution of political opponents who just said to follow the law.
I have heard that. I have not seen that. I have heard that being put around. So I don't actually know exactly what those comments were, but I have heard that. So I can't really speak to it like very educatedly wise because I haven't seen it myself to tell you. But if he did say that, he's a wild card. He does pop off on things, and I don't always agree with what he says.
So if he did say that, would you stop supporting him? Like if I could show you a tweet of him reposting something saying HANG them, George Washington would you stop supporting him?
If you would say what?
If he reposted someone saying HANG them, George Washington would you, like on his Truth Social, verified Truth Social page, it's still up to this day, would you still support him? If I could show you that?
I would have a hard time supporting him, yes, if he was.
I can genuinely show you this right now.
That would be difficult if he's saying that, I don't know what his justification for that would be.
There is none. That's like my point, is that like there is no justification for this. This is just straight up calling for execution of political opponents. And it's like to such an absurd point that you should disqualify like him.
What did they say that
They
made
said that
him?
you should not follow unlawful orders. That's all they
was
said.
this the generals?
Yeah,
Was this the
they're
generals?
not generals, but they are veterans in Congress.
I did see where I thought it was the generals that had came out, some retired generals, except one, and he basically had said something about like bringing him back and then firing him again or something. But I did not see the comments where he said to do that to them.
Yeah. So if I show you on the page right now, you seriously will stop supporting him? Because I'm pulling it up right now.
I wouldn't necessarily support him. I still support the party, I would say, but I wouldn't necessarily support him.
Like if you could go back in time, you wouldn't vote for him, right? Why is this not loading? This is acting really weird right now. I don't know why TikTok is doing this. Sorry, give me 1 second. I was trying to pull it up, but TikTok is acting really weird. It's like not letting me click on Dean's account. What the hell? And I even logged in and then it didn't even work. Okay, it's just acting really weird right now. Let me pull it up.
I'm just curious as to where did he say that on?
Truth
Like,
Social.
On Truth Social?
Yeah.
And is it deleted or is it still there?
No, it's still there. Cute. Thank you for the treasure chest. Thank you. Sorry, I'm trying to pull it up for you, and it's like acting really weird. Give me 1 second. Let me find the tweet for you. Alrighty.
I said it's not surprising some of the things he does say. I can say that he is a wild card. He does pop off and say things, and I don't approve of everything. It's more the party for me, but it was more also that I couldn't support Kamala. So I'm not going to say I agree with everything he ever says, but I definitely didn't agree with Biden either.
But like,
So
what made Kamala Harris worse?
I just honestly felt like she was not a strong enough person to run this country.
How
I
so?
didn't feel like she had the guts to do it, the backbone to do it. I didn't think anybody would really take her serious in this world as the leader of the United States. And I feel like
Okay,
I
well,
feel like
people
after
took her
having
more
Biden,
seriously. I can give you a Pew Research analysis that indicates that she had a higher degree of confidence amongst many different countries that are our allies in doing the right thing regarding world affairs, whereas Trump's approval rating was like 33% in terms of confidence rating that he was going to do the right thing regarding world affairs. Hers was 55%, his was 33%
well,
in confidence.
that could be, but then I would want to know who was within that percentage amounts, because if it like our big allies are our big countries that we are in disagreement with, that's where it matters to me as to, like, Russia, for example. They're not going to play around with Trump. He wouldn't take, Putin wouldn't take a woman seriously for anything, to be honest. I mean, he wouldn't. A lot of men are just that way. They won't take a woman seriously. So
Okay, so you're saying because she's a woman, she isn't going to be taken seriously, which again, even though I can show you an analysis indicating she is taken more seriously, you're not willing to accept. But
it's
again,
not,
there's
it's
no
not all of
argument.
that.
Even if that were the case, that doesn't mean you don't vote for a woman just because there are misogynistic men. That's
It's
like,
not all that.
wait,
I'm a
wait. No,
woman. Trust me.
yeah, you just said that
It's
you
not
don't
all
want to.
that.
You just said that we shouldn't put a woman to this position of leadership because there are
No,
misogynistic men.
No. I didn't say that.
That was the
I
argument.
just said that. I said Putin, for example. He's very much that way. He would not take a woman seriously for anything in the world.
I don't think Putin truly respects Trump.
The president of the...
There we go. I finally got it.
I think, I'm not saying anything against women being in that position, but I think it has to be a very strong one.
United States of America, Donald Trump, is now demanding the execution, more specifically the hanging, of any Democrat urging our military to ignore any unlawful order given to them by him. I can't believe that this is a real video. I never thought I would be reporting this headline in my life. And just to clarify, you heard me right. If you want members of our military to honor their oath and uphold the Constitution, then Donald Trump wants you dead. So here's everything that you need to know. Donald Trump posted this on Truth Social. He responded to a post published by the Washington Examiner titled, "Democratic Veterans in Congress Urge Service Members to Refuse Unspecified Unlawful Orders," by saying that this is really bad and dangerous to our country and that their words cannot be allowed to stand. He then followed that up with a second post that reads, "This is seditious behavior, punishable by death." And then he reposted a comment that reads, quote unquote, "Hang them, George Washington would." This is the most dystopian thing.
Okay, now see, Parker, that's where you get in trouble, because you say he posted it, he wrote it himself.
I said reposted from the beginning. And also,
he made
why
the
does
post.
that distinction even matter? If I reposted
Because
someone
if he-
calling
I
for
mean,
wait,
if-
I'm sorry.
I'm
If
reading
I
what-
fucking called for the execution of someone, if I reposted someone doing that, I would get fucking so much flack. Do you understand
would, for sure.
that no one
You
would
would.
support me? That would be absurd, right?
You would. I mean, anybody would. Anybody should. But I don't see.
Yeah, so then why
I
can't
barely
you do it
saw the
here
last
for the
clip of
president?
that.
Why am I held to a higher standard than the president of the United States?
I barely saw the last clip of that, and it didn't say that Trump reposted it.
Yes, he did. He just reposted that. He reposted HANG them George Washington would. I'm sorry. He reposted that means he put it on his own account. And it's still up.
I couldn't see where it said he reposted that directly to his account. Like, I couldn't see his
What?
account and then
Wait,
it
I
being
just showed you.
reposted.
I'll play it again.
Why don't you don't play that? You don't have to play the whole thing again. But like the
Punishable by
end part
death.
of it.
And
Yeah, I know. Look. Donald J. Trump read truth. You can click on this on his own account. I've done this before myself. I'm serious when I say this. I'm not making up this. I'm telling you this because you cannot support people like this for president in our country and expect the country to be a good place. This crosses a line.
I'll have to
If
go
you
look
can't
at it and
realize
see.
this
I'm
crosses
not.
a line,
I have
when
no.
will you?
No, I understand. No, I wouldn't. I would not support that. I would not support that at all. If that's true and that's what he
What do you mean,
reposted,
if
or I don't
that's
know.
true? Like, I genuinely,
I've
like, I
never.
just showed you.
I know. I've never seen that platform, so that's why I'm saying it said like retruth. That's why I was trying to read on it. I've never
Oh,
been
it's
on
okay.
that platform.
Yeah, Truth Social is his own social media platform that he created.
Okay, I've never been on the platform, so that's why I'm unfamiliar with it. Looking
It's
at
okay.
it, but
It's okay. I'm just showing you it now, and I'm being like, if anyone who's a Democratic candidate posted this, that's political suicide.
yeah, no, I don't agree with calling for the execution of anybody for saying anything at all. That is First Amendment right to say what you want to say, point blank, period. So if he said that, then yeah, he should be held to that standard, and he should be questioned about that. He should be, that's not okay. That's not okay to call for that for anybody. It keeps happening. Actually, it does keep happening with senators, with all different Republicans, Democrats, both. It keeps happening where they're both calling for, the death of other people, essentially,
Name
and
one
nobody's
Democratic
getting held.
candidate that ran for president that did do that.
No, I'm saying like I don't know if it was in the House or in the Senate, but there was a case of that. I think it actually was a Republican that called for that for someone in Minnesota or Michigan. There was a case of it and it wasn't addressed either. I've seen a few cases of it, so nobody's getting held to that
What are you trying to say?
standard.
Cases of what? Like Democrats
Where
calling for execution?
they've basically said somebody should be unalived.
Yeah,
for
there was
something
one
that they
person that you
said.
can point to that's Democratic. One person. And by the way, like mostly everyone I've ever talked to has said that they don't support them. Right? Like
No, I'm saying any of them
and
should
by the way,
not be
it's not
doing
a
it.
Democratic president. That's not someone running for the presidency. That's not the
No, but
thought leader in
none
the
of them
party.
should. None of them should because they represent.
I agree, but we literally hold them accountable on our side, right? But like
Yeah.
apparently, again, Republicans can't do that with their literal thought leader.
So what? So nobody is holding him accountable for that. There's been no action for that.
Realistically, there's not been enough accountability. He should be impeached for this. Genuinely, he should be impeached.
I think it sounds to me like the first comment was that he was basically, I don't know if he was calling it treason in a sense or what he was trying to call it.
And he even did this recently. He said people questioning his cognitive health, saying that he's not as like quick as he used to be, right? Literally are engaging in seditious, perhaps even treasonous behavior. What?
Yeah. Well, that's him, and we all know that's him. You can't question him. I mean, that's what happened with Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I'm with her. I follow along with her. So
do you think she supports Trump?
She was one of his biggest supporters.
Do you think
she
she
was
still
one of the
does?
biggest ones.
And what do you think her answer to that would be now?
Really, I don't know. I really don't know what she would say because she kind of, she resigned from office to run for governor, and she still was supporting him even when she resigned. It sounded like to me.
I mean, I doesn't sound like she supports him really.
I'm unclear on that.
And by the way,
but
by the way, I don't know why you like Marjorie Taylor Greene otherwise. Like I don't think Marjorie Taylor Greene runs on like a good platform or anything.
Well,
the point we're
to
just
be
saying is that like
honest-
she makes one step different, and she's cut out of the cold.
Well, to be honest, the Epstein deal, like she was willing to go, which she never did. She was willing to go on the floor and name all the names. I thought surely she'd do it. She didn't. I wish she would. I don't care who's on
Can I
it.
ask you a question? Do you think
What?
that there were Jewish space lasers that caused the fires in Hawaii?
Jewish space lasers?
Yeah.
I've not heard of that.
You haven't heard that one?
So,
maybe you
I've
should
not heard of that.
maybe you should look into that one.
I've not heard of that. Yeah, that's something I haven't even heard of. I'm not That's another part of me where I'm not anti-Semitic, but I am not for the Israeli government. I think that they are running a lot of shady things and doing a lot of shady things.
Yeah, there's a difference. There's a difference between anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism, right? And I think
Yeah.
that a lot of people on the right utilize anti-Zionism in order to spread anti-Semitism, which is a bad thing.
Could be.
Because like I'm
But
anti-Zionist, but I think you
yeah,
shouldn't be anti-Semitic
yeah, exactly.
because that's fucked
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I would fall. I'm definitely not a BB fan whatsoever. Um, just like I believe with Charlie Kirk, I think he was following along those lines and it wasn't accepted. And so a lot of people say he wasn't, but I fully believe that he was. I think he was starting to see the truth of things about the Israeli government. So,
I don't really think there's good evidence for that, to be honest with you.
you don't?
Like maybe you could say that he was slightly more critical than he originally was, but I don't know. He was a pretty big defender of them.
Not at the end though. There is a lot out there. There is a lot out there that's showing
There's a
that he
narrative.
declined.
There is a narrative out there.
Yeah.
It's
There's a lot
and
showing that
it
he was
mostly is
starting.
just a narrative in of itself, right? Like there was some level of critical thought that he was applying to it at the very like to some very point, but like again, nowhere near enough to say this at all, I think.
I think he was starting to see what a lot of us are starting to see when it comes to the Israeli government. God's people are God's people there, but the Israeli government was never meant to be part of what we call God's people, that we protect. The government was never part of that. So I think he was kind of starting to have his own opinion about what they were doing to Palestine, and that's the other thing. I
think
take
that
issue.
genuinely, I think that's just you grasping for straws to try to find like a position that would agree with yours in terms of what he held. Like I don't think that would actually be like the description of his view.
No,
Like,
I
sure, he
did
was
see. No, I
critical
did
to
see
some
him
degree, but like
say.
he was like one of the biggest defenders of the state of Israel.
No, but he did. I did see him say that it essentially was a genocide that was happening. He did essentially say that. I watched him say that.
Yeah, I watched the clip that you're referencing. He acknowledged that they were trying and talking about ethnically cleansing Gaza.
Yeah.
But he didn't bring it up in that clip as if he disagreed with that even.
But just the fact that he said that, I think, says enough in and of itself right there that he would call it that, because nobody else is calling it that. Nobody else will go against Israel and call it that, especially on the
he said that
conservative
they were
side.
talking about. He never described what it was as that. And oftentimes he would say that it is not a genocide and would argue against that and try to make points against that.
See, I guess I interpreted it different, maybe than you.
I understand, but like that's the narrative I'm saying exists, and that's people that are relying upon. Like people have been creating a bunch of narratives because genuinely it gets attention, it gets viewership, and like conspiracies always do that. With like events that are happening or that are mainstream events, like people create conspiracies because there's an incentive on social media because it gets attention and
Sure.
it makes them money.
Sure. I mean, absolutely. I agree with that. But like I said, I would say I honestly fall down more the middle, but I do fall more on the conservative side. But those are my disputes with the Democratic side that I can't fall along with.
None of those are a reason to say that you support Donald Trump over the Democrats. Like seriously.
Well, I think
Donald Trump is worse in every single way that you brought up.
I know. For me, though, honestly, it's probably the worst of the two evils.
But like how so?
But
like, is it just the abortion? Because again, you could say that you disagree with it yourself, but then say that it should be legal for other people to get access to.
I mean, I didn't want what was going on under Biden's administration to continue under Kamala's. So
I mean, but like what specifically in terms of policy? Because again, I know that people keep just trying to prescribe that it was bad. Like what metrics are you referencing? What policies caused that? What are you referencing in general?
Well, like I said, the AB one, that was one of them. The border policy was a big one for me because, like I said, I live in a border state. So I can tell a little bit about that. Those are probably my two biggest things that I held on to. Um, I, unlike some, I assumed that Trump was not going to go after gay marriage. And as of recent, there has been some things that have came up that where he may go after that. And I'm not for that at all. So he kind of made that clear that he wasn't against that at all. So if he goes after that, I have, loved ones who that would affect. And so that would definitely affect my opinion of him if he was to go after that and try to make that to where that could not be allowed.
Here
So
would be my point, is that it shouldn't take you specifically just having loved ones or just impacting you in order for you to realize that it affects people, or that it's
no,
enough to say
no,
that you
no,
shouldn't
and I'm
support
not
them. Like, think
saying
about it
I'm
this
not.
way. What if you had a family
Yeah,
member that was affected by the border policy of the Trump administration? That was affected medically because of their lack of access to abortion because of the state policy that they exist in.
no, I understand that. No, I understand that. I'm
What
just
if you
saying
knew
that
people then?
I think everybody in some way lives in that way. Is how do things affect them? Their lived experience. I think that most people operate that way. They may not say that they do, but I think a lot of people operate that way, and that's the way they think and what they've went through, what their family's going through, and that's what comes to their mind first. I don't necessarily believe
I
that
understand that came to
is.
your mind first, but I just said you could also apply this to situations like border policy. Think about it if you were in the shoes of someone who is impacted by this, right? That's kind of what
Yeah,
I'm saying, is
no,
like see
I
it from the
understand.
perspective of other individuals, right? Because when we talk about policies, it's not just necessarily what only impacts you. Of course, people from a general basis, they acknowledge what impacts them the most. That probably impacts them emotionally the most, right? Because it's
Mhm.
related to their own personal experience. I'm not disputing you on that. I'm just saying that there's another thought process that we should put on top of this to see it from other people's perspectives, to see in that circumstance, how would it impact people? And if you were a random person put into a random circumstance, right, what wouldn't you want? Like, think about what society would be in that circumstance. You don't want to think about it as if
Yeah,
it would just be impacting you or how it's going to impact you
no,
in your life.
yeah,
You want to think about it for like what it could be for your children, your grandchildren, the children that come after them, because they're just going to be some typical random person put into society, thrown into society, and again, you want society to treat them the best as they possibly could, right?
yeah, no, I understand. Like I don't. I'm not for. I'm not for taking a hardworking illegal immigrant and going after them first. That's not what I'm saying at all. I do believe that essentially you've broken the law, and that's what they're going to say, and unfortunately that is the truth of the matter. Am I for that? No. But is that what the law is? Yes.
Yeah, but like the
So
Trump administration's violating the law and deporting them without due process. ICE isn't utilizing warrants, right? They're literally
from what I
masking
understand,
themselves
they
and
don't
hiding their
have to.
identities. They do.
Well, okay, now I will say
They don't need warrants.
I will
You think
argue
that
that with
some law
you.
enforcement doesn't need
I
warrants, identities, anything
I
like that?
no, actually I come from a law enforcement family, so I know that how that works, but I will say I will argue that with you. On them hiding their identity. I've been in that position as the daughter of a law enforcement person, so I don't disagree with them covering their face with a mask.
Oh
If
wait, so
everybody else
so
is
then do you
fine,
think police officers should be able to do that as well?
in some instances they do. When they serve warrants, they do. Undercover agents, they do. If they are an undercover agent
And they have
that
no mechanism for identity? They don't have a
no,
badge?
they don't. Actually, no. If they are an undercover agent and they did a buy on a house and they end up going and raiding that house, they cover their face because they don't want their identity given out as an undercover. So they cover their face. It's no different than that. And the fact is that all these people are trying to dox them and come after their families. And
Is
when
ICE
you are,
undercover?
huh?
Is ICE undercover? And
Some
that's
of them
also
are.
like not the same as a
They
typical
do
cop.
have some. They do have some. But like I think that when their
I do
families
think that
are
there's going to be
becoming at
some
risk,
mechanism for identifying someone who's going to be a police officer in these particular circumstances, and I think you would want to create conditions for that to the most degree as you possibly could. And the
Well,
reason
I
why
think like
people
a
have this
badge,
negative
like
response
a
to
badge, for
ICE
instance.
is because of the laws that they're violating and because of how they're treating people. So if ICE didn't
Well,
treat people in that way, there wouldn't be a risk to conceal your identity in the same degree. So you're reinforcing the risk to conceal identity under your own perspective by enforcing these particular standards within the context of the law where people violate people's constitutionally protected rights. These are constitutionally protected rights. Everyone gets this. And if you have no ability to distinguish the individual that is kidnapping you, right, from just any typical person, right, then how are you supposed to know that they're an ICE agent? Then in that circumstance, wouldn't it justify them utilizing Second Amendment rights?
well, here's the
Right, like
thing.
self-defense? Like,
Here's
how
the
do they
thing.
know it's not just some random person kidnapping them?
Yeah, I know. I understand that. Here's the thing. If they are going to mask themselves, they should have their badge around their neck. Period. Or they should have the, I mean, that's what I feel. The
So they
badge
have
is not going to
some method of
identify them.
identification. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, that their badge is not going to identify them. So if
Okay,
that's
so
not
you
a
don't think
standard,
badges should be used for identification?
no, I said
Because then
they
badges
should
can
have
be
their
faked,
badge.
right? If there's no
They
method of
can, but I
identification, they can be
mean,
faked.
let's be honest. How often is that? I mean, what case?
You're not
What case do
expecting
you
that to
have where
happen when
that's?
people are already
But has it?
violating the law?
Has it?
You're not expecting that to happen when people are already
But
violating the
has it
law?
though? In all of these cases so
Yeah.
far, is there a case where somebody has imitated an ICE agent and
Yes.
abducted somebody under that
Yes.
circumstance?
Yes.
And that's going to be and I mean, shoot, that happens with police officers. Even they pretend to be them, they follow them, they pull them over. So
But you're
I
going to be
mean,
able to do
it
that to a
does.
greater extent if there is no method for identification. Someone's going to be able to identify someone who's violating the law and pretending to be a police officer to a greater extent if they don't have a mechanism for identification. But if they had
So
a mechanism
how does
for
their face showing identify them?
again, that's
How does that identify them as an ICE agent just by showing their face?
well, I think it's an aspect of doing that, and also like it's an aspect of identification because you have to be able to clarify the badge and the identification to their face, to who they are. It makes them less suspicious. It makes it so that there's actually like some sort of descripting factor. And again, in this context, it makes sense for this to happen because we're trying to ensure the safety of those that are going to be impacted. And again, it sounds like you don't even take
So
that into consideration.
So you think that every single time that they're having to chase down somebody running from them, they have time to pull out their ID and their badge and show them first before they take them into
No,
custody?
it's when asked. It's when asked. So, like for example, if you're going and deporting someone, detaining someone, showing identification when asked, right, and identifying who you are is a part of that process. Showing a warrant is a part of that process. You're
They don't
assuming
have
that
to have a
most people, by the way,
warrant.
you're assuming most people detained by ICE, this is like some sort of violent encounter. No, not even close. Because these circumstances,
not
over
all of them.
70% of the people who are detained by ICE, no criminal record at all. Only 5% of those that are detained have a violent criminal record.
I can't check you on any of the stats because I haven't seen them, but I mean, I do know that they are picking them up straight out of the courts when they do have, and when you said the courts, they're picking them up. Well, that's when they've been issued an order to be deported. So why wouldn't they pick them up out of the courts right after they leave court? Why wouldn't they take them right then? They've been issued an order for deport. So why wouldn't they take them right then?
Wait, repeat your point. I'm confused.
When you said that they are taking them out of the courts, like right after they have their court
Yeah,
hearing.
like they're going
Why
to the
wouldn't
court
they?
dates. Yeah.
Yeah, they go to their court and they're issued an order to be deported. Why wouldn't they take them
But
right then when they walk out of the court?
It's not in that context. We're talking about specifically people who are going to their legal court dates. They get to go through the context of the court process. They're not being allowed to go through the court process.
From what I understand, they go in and they have their court hearing. They come out with an order to deport, and they take them right then.
No,
they,
no,
but
no, no.
they
No,
typically
that's what ICE is.
have.
ICE is claiming that the court system is not. That's the
That the
issue.
court
It's because
system is-
ICE is from the executive. They're executive, so they're trying to suppress right the judicial overview of how the executive is enforcing immigration law. They're trying to go over that and trying to act like that doesn't apply to them. And that's why when we specifically are trying to say that they need to uphold due process, that means the judicial will verify what the executive indicated to be the case. So when they're going to their legal court date and they are going and literally detaining them and trying to deport them in that context, that is just straight up fucking ridiculous. because they
But okay, so
tried to go through the
what are
legal
you
process.
saying?
They were trying to go through their court date, and even when
Okay.
they were doing though, they're getting like literally like attacked by ICE agents.
Well, if they are going through their process and the court does not give them an order to deport at that time and gives them another court date to follow up on, then no, I don't think they should be taken
If
at
they're
that
going
point.
to a court date that has been scheduled, if they got detained and deported in that context, would you say you wouldn't support Trump if they were doing that?
You just want me to tell you I won't support Trump. It's
Of course,
a border
that's the whole
issue.
point of this live. Of course, I want you to change your position on that.
I'm just saying that if that was the case, that is, I mean, that's a Kristi Noem thing, to be honest. That's her jurisdiction, you know, that she's putting that in place. But, or even not even Kristi Noem, but what's his name, the new lead border guy, that's all over the news, the older guy. I can't remember his name right off. You know who I'm talking about. Tom, yes, that one. That's him. that's his jurisdiction.
Like Tom Homan.
If they're deeming these people that came out of the court and they have a next court date to continue their process and they're taking them, then no, I wouldn't agree with that.
Okay.
So
The point that I'm making is that this is the case. They are violating people's due process rights and constitutionally protected rights, and this is why people have negative opinions of ICE.
yes, but don't you agree also that people are taking it way too far with they're doxing them, they're violently attacking them, they're provoking them? Do you not agree with that?
They've been literally shooting people who are literally just speaking. Okay.
No,
You understand?
they're
You understand that like those are the circumstances that are happening, and if you want to reference like these situations, yes, I don't agree with committing violence, but that means that the ICE agents shouldn't be committing violence. And do they
No,
have the right to self-defense? Yes,
I'm not saying that some of them
people
shouldn't
who are
be.
being attacked, who are being kidnapped, have the right to self-defense, especially when they specifically don't know that they're law enforcement. They are defending their community members. Now,
But
again,
you have people who are standing in front of ICE vehicles who are throwing things at ICE vehicles, trying to bust their windows. You have them standing in front of the gates at ICE
I think you're trying to say
facilities.
that that's all these circumstances. There are situations I can point to where literally ICE has gone around someone's car, literally just trying to go to work, right? And they were held without due process with no power of attorney for 3 days, and they missed their kid's birthday party. Okay, I'm serious. These are real examples of things that have happened. They were
they
legally in the
illegal?
yes, they were legally in the country. They were
No, were-
trying to go to work.
Well, and that's not right. That's simply not right. If that's the case, that's simply not right.
I can show
I
you the
don't know
video. I
that
can show you
case.
someone talking about it, like the person
And
themselves
see,
talking
that's
about
the thing. We can both sit here and show each other cases of wrongdoing on each side. So it's a matter of
it. These
it's
are
a matter of
controlled by the
something
Trump
has to be-
administration.
Huh?
These are controlled by the Trump administration. Listen here. This is a veteran who was arrested by ICE.
On July 10th,
Oh, is it
2025,
the
I was
current
confronted by
veteran?
ICE agents on my way to work. I want you to understand exactly what that looked like. Not because I want sympathy, but because it exposes a crack in the law that must be fixed. I was driving to my job as a security guard at a licensed farm in Camarillo, California.
That's him in that car. He's just trying to go to the store, go to a farm.
And a veteran, but that didn't matter. Agents smashed
He
my
informed them that he's a citizen and a veteran.
window, sprayed tear gas,
And that's wrong.
Listen,
I mean, I'm
listen.
not going to say that that's right. I'm not going to say that's right at all. I mean, if I wasn't
Listen,
a,
wait, hold up. Let me
you know,
play the clip.
but that didn't matter. Agents smashed my window, sprayed tear gas and pepper spray into my car, dragged me out. I was choking on gas, unable to breathe, while officers shouted conflicting commands even after I complied. They pinned me down, one kneeling on my back and another kneeling on my neck, while my hands were already behind me. I was first taken to a Navy base where agents collected my DNA, and after that, I was taken to a detention center and held for 3 days without charges. No phone call, no lawyer, no medical care, even though my skin burned from the chemicals. I wasn't allowed to shower. On July 10th, 2025,
I'm not going to tell you that's okay.
citizen, a veteran.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that's okay. And he needs to take that, and he needs to take that clear through the courts and go after whoever's responsible for that and try to get
The
that
Trump
changed.
administration.
I don't think Trump, I mean, that's the problem. Trump's not sitting there dictating that specific situation.
The Trump administration
So-
has granted this level of authority to ICE.
I think it kind of falls into each jurisdiction is what I think, because I don't think every jurisdiction is acting that same way, because I know some and they're not acting in that way. So I think some have leadership that is not very empathetic, I guess is the word, and just telling them to, because
But the issue is that
And
Trump's
now,
giving them the
except-
power to act that way.
well, they're essentially sending them out there and saying you have to have X amount caught per day. I mean, that's what exactly is happening. You need to detain X amount of them per day. So
Yeah, don't you think that's a bad and horrible mechanism?
I don't think that's the best way to do it. No, I don't think that's the best way to do it.
Shouldn't they just be going after like murderers and rapists and people who are committing bad crimes that are actually a threat to the safety and security of our
I
communities?
mean, I think if
and
they
not
had any
like people's
crime-
grandparents and their parents.
I think if they
and
have,
their
if I
siblings.
think, well, here's my thing. If I think, and that's what they say they're doing, obviously they're not, but I think if they have any crime whatsoever that they've committed in the US and they are illegal, they need to go. Period.
So anything other than coming to the country undocumented, you mean?
I mean, that's illegal, but like I said, I'm not against, I don't agree with it, but I
Okay,
also
so over
am not
73%
going to
of
say,
people, so over 73% of individuals that are detained by ICE have no prior criminal record. So you think at least 73% of
well,
undocumented
here, okay, but here's the problem
that have
with
been
that.
detained by
Here,
ICE should be
I
allowed
will
to
give
stay?
you the problem with that, though. I will give you the other side to that. When you say those statistics, you're basing those statistics off of out of our systems that vet them. We do not have the systems out of Guatemala, Venezuela, Mexico, Brazil. We don't have their criminal systems that vet them and have their charges.
We communicate with those countries and we find that information.
No, not to
Yes, we
that
do.
extent. We do not.
Yes,
No,
we
we
do.
do not.
Yeah, we do. That's a part of the vetting
No,
process.
I know for sure they are not running every single one of them and running
Yeah,
them through their countries.
That's part of the vetting process.
They have.
So then you're
I
saying
know
under
for
Trump's
sure.
administration, they're not vetting people?
The people that come over here illegally, we are seeing what they have on our system as criminal offenses. We're not seeing what they have as criminal offenses in Brazil, Venezuela, Guatemala, Mexico, you name it.
You understand that
We don't see that.
we communicate with those countries and we literally clarify and vet through the process. That's a part
Not
of the vetting
every
process.
single
That's
one
part
of them.
determining this.
There's no
and
way.
again, in these circumstances, there's no prior criminal offenses identified. So
But
explain
here's
to
the
me,
thing.
and again, undocumented immigrants are multiple times as likely to commit violent crime, drug crime, property crime in the country compared to natural-born U.S. citizens. These arguments you're trying to make that like immigrants have committed all these different crimes that probably have done something bad is ridiculous. Only 5% of those that have
No,
been detained by ICE have
because
violent
so
criminal
many
records.
of them, because so many of them came
It's
through here without.
guilty until proven innocent for undocumented
No.
immigrants, but
So
innocent
many
until
of
proven
them
guilty
came-
for the president of the United States. And even when he's proven guilty, you still don't hold him accountable.
No, I'm saying that so many of them came through without coming through a border stop. So they're in the country and we don't even know who they are. They're in here and no, so they're not vetted.
So if you
You
want to vet
can't
more
say that
people,
they're all vetted.
provide them a pathway to get vetted where they don't have to leave the country. Because then it would actually give them an incentive to go through said process, right? And we would have more people that are overall vetted.
Well, that's the thing. They need, like, we're trying to shut it down now completely
There's
and
no
get
reason
through
to shut
what
it
we've-
down. They're not
It's
actually
gotta
making
be
the
shut
conditions
down.
better. No, it doesn't. It needs to be made quicker. It needs to actually be legitimate. We need to invest in that process instead of militarizing ICE. Take that money and make the legal process go significantly quicker.
I think we've got to shut it down now and fix what has came over now and get that fixed and get those people either legalized or out, and then we can reopen it. But I think we have to
They're just
fix
trying to
what we've
deport
got
people. They're
going
not
now.
trying to give a pathway to citizenship for people. And the quote-unquote shutdown that you're referencing isn't leading to better conditions. It is leading to people being less safe and secure in this country. And that's why Trump's approval rating on immigration is tanking.
I haven't seen it tanking. I actually
is.
have seen the opposite, but from what I've
There.
seen,
I
it's.
can send you an AP NORC poll that indicates that there's been a tanking of his immigration approval rating since he got in office.
I mean, I haven't seen that. Like I said, it's not that I don't have empathy. I have friends who work the border, and I have heard very sad stories about people and what they go through to come to this country. And it's dire and it's sad, and they have good reason why they are. And so I don't believe that they're all bad, not by any means at all. But there's a lot of bad that comes over that border, and we had to stop it.
Yeah, and
I
we
mean,
can
there are
focus on
children
that
being
more
harmed.
if we're not focusing on deporting those that are not a threat to the safety and security of our communities, that have no prior criminal record. Seriously, let's focus on the people who have done the bad things
But
and
that's what
are
I'm trying
going
to
to do the
say.
bad things. Let's
But
not
that's what I'm
focus on
trying
the
to say.
family members that are just trying to come to this country for a better life and live the American dream. Seriously,
But
let's lock in on the people who are doing the bad crimes. And if we want to do that, that means starting with the president too. That
but
means
Parker,
impeaching
that's
that
what.
guy, getting him out of office.
But you have to agree. You have to agree with this though, that you're talking about they know the crimes of those that they have had contact with and have been able to run through our system and whatever country of origin they came from. Okay? What you have to agree with, and you can't say, is that all these people that came through without any knowledge, they did not stop at a border and check in. They got in without any check-in whatsoever. We have no idea what their history is, their criminal history
So
at
let's
all.
make a quicker process so that we can actually do
But
that.
do you think?
So
But
we
do
can
you
vet
think
more
the
people.
terrorists? Do you think the terrorists and the bad people are going to come in willingly?
Well, then again, if we have more people going through the legal process and not going through the process undocumented because it's a quick legal process, well, then the people who specifically aren't going to make it through the legal process are going to be going through the process undocumented. Then proportionally, more people who are going through the process undocumented are going to be a threat to the safety and security of our communities, making it easier for law enforcement to focus on those individuals.
It's still, I get what you're saying, but I'm just telling you that that's part of why the actions that are being taken now are being taken that way, because we don't know millions of them that are in this country, that there's videos of them saying, you don't know my name now, but soon you will know my name. We have people in this country that want to harm us. They are terrorists.
And
They are
that's
from
not
all over the
undocumented
place.
immigrants coming to this country. Why do people keep trying to portray undocumented immigrants as a harm to our country? They're significantly less likely to engage in violent crime, drug crime, property crime in this country.
That is
Most
an
of the people
undocumented
committing
immigrant, though.
terrorism are domestic terrorists that are alt right-wing, white men in this country. You understand that the
No,
problem with
that's
terrorism
pedophiles.
and no, the problem with the problem in this country with terrorism, typically speaking, right, is going to be domestic terrorism, not terrorism
No,
coming from
I
people who are
definitely don't
immigrating
agree
to our
with that.
country.
I definitely don't agree. I definitely agree that we are going to see that those that have crossed the border under Biden's nose is going to be the ones that do harm to this country and do terroristic attacks. Now, when you want to talk about white men
Wait, you
being
referenced the
the
National Guard
threat,
earlier. That person was literally clarified to be in our country
that was an
and approved
Afghan,
under the Trump administration.
and that was an Afghan. That wasn't a
So?
white man. That was an
Wait,
Afghan. But you just
no,
said.
the point I was making about that is that again he was specifically approved to stay in the country under the Trump administration. I wasn't claiming that he was white.
He came over under the Biden's administration
Again,
through the
he,
withdrawal of Afghanistan.
and and his
He came
asylum
over
was
through the-
approved under Trump.
The withdrawal in Afghanistan came under Biden's administration, not Trump's
Wait,
administration.
you're not understanding. The approval for the asylum claim was under Trump's administration
This year, he got an asylum approval.
in April. Yes.
Well, then that I'm not aware of. The last thing I saw was that he came in under
In
whatever
December
program that
2024.
was.
December 2024, and that was when they applied.
Well, December
and then they were
2024.
approved under the Trump administration in April.
Well, then that's on them then for not. I
Yeah,
mean,
that is the Trump administration. That's the point I was making. Was that again, even in the context where the Trump administration was dealing with it, these situations still occurred. So it's not like they're addressing this to a greater extent.
Yeah, but I'm saying though that there are plenty in this country, and that's what they're
And
trying
wait,
to
why
find.
do you only care when immigrants do this? How many situations have happened in this country where there's been mass shooting after mass shooting after mass shooting, and conservatives,
no,
all they
it's-
have to say are
that's-
thoughts and prayers. They don't have any policy in terms of gun control legislation. They don't actually talk about this at all. It's just thoughts and prayers. It's never actual policy that is going to limit these types of events from happening in the first place. You know, how many
No,
fucking days have
it's
you
not
woke up
just
and there's
about
another
immigrants.
fucking school shooting, and there's another shooting that just happened, like just
Well,
today
but
at Brown
but that's like
University?
but see that's that same argument that it's that I'm very pro 2A. So that's like saying driving cars
And I'm
kills
pro
people.
children living. I'm pro children not being murdered by guns in school systems. I am pro taking care of our population and ensuring that we're safe. That's what I'm pro. And you can still have access to guns in that particular society, just not to the degree that we have, without the fucking checks and balances that other countries have that limit these events from happening. Because these types
Well,
of
what
events
checks
don't
and
happen to the
balances do we
degree that
not
they happen
have?
here in the United States everywhere else around the world.
Well, like,
and it's
what
for
do you
some
think
reason
we
people don't
need?
want to address it.
Well, what do you think needs to be added? Because what do you think needs to be added if not taking away, like, because that seems to be the thought of liberals, is that we need to take away everybody's guns.
Not every single gun, but yeah, definitely some guns I'm okay with taking away. If you want to talk about this, I would love for us to have universal background checks, licensing, right? You're taught how to use a gun right before you do it, before you get access
I
to it.
agree with
I think
that.
all of those things are incredibly important. I think that you have to literally have all of those, and if you don't have all of those, then you should not be able to get access to a gun. It is ridiculous. There needs to be registries, there needs to be red flag laws, right? There needs to be stronger laws
Well,
in
you
general.
can't have red flag laws because
Wait,
that.
Trump himself advocated for red flag laws, so you can't even
Yeah,
argue
and I
against that
don't.
one.
And I don't. No.
You should have red
Because
flag laws. Those are important.
no, because see, what happens is you get a veteran that has PTSD, and he can be put under the red flag law. So
I
there are
mean, I don't
cases.
think it necessarily entails that that's the case, but
Yeah,
I mean,
it does actually. That's one of the big arguments with the red flag law is that you
but
can get a
yeah,
veteran
like
that has PTSD that can be put under a red flag law, and I
yeah,
don't
but
think that's right.
you understand. I just want to let you know, like in that circumstance, if someone has a high likelihood, right, of maybe even harming themselves in that circumstance, if someone has PTSD, there could be grounds for that.
There could be, yes, but you don't know that. You do. I mean, you don't know that they are. You don't know that they just simply have PTSD from serving this country, and then they get red flag lawed and can't have a weapon. Like, I don't agree with that.
But then there's still a court process on that. The red
No,
flag law
a
doesn't mean
red
that there's
flag law
no
is just
court
basically
process. It
saying
just
no.
means that there's a red flag, so they can't until the court process verifies whether or not they can. So that's
As far as
there
as
still
far
is
as
a
I've
court
seen,
process.
it's just a straight no.
No,
It's just a straight.
no. There's still a court process.
But I think I still stand with, you see what's happened in other countries when they took away guns from people, and even people in those
Yeah,
countries
less
have said,
people got murdered.
yeah, but then look what happens. You have governments that then control the people to a point in which
That already happens in our society. You think you have a fighting chance against the government? They can drone strike anyone. Literally, Trump
Well,
does it.
a lot of
Trump's
countries
been
can do that.
advocating for it. They have fucking weapons that we cannot fight against. Genuinely, there is no basis for saying that our access to guns is a justification for that. Because, like, again, then you're saying that we should be able to have nuclear weapons because the government has that. We should be
No,
able to have miniguns and attack
do you really-
helicopters
but-
and
but
all of
do you
those different
really
things.
want-
It should be GTA in real life.
no, but do you really want, if shit goes down, do you really want to be without a way to protect you and your family in the best way that you can?
I would love for there to be less guns in our society. That'd be fantastic. I would love to not have to worry about
Do
that.
but do you agree with still being able to have guns?
You can have some legal access to guns, but I would love for a society where we don't even have to think about that.
So I know you're 23. I don't know if you're married. I don't know if you have kids, but if you did and you had someone come into your home, would you rather and feel safer having a gun to protect you and your family?
I mean, I don't necessarily know if I would get a gun even. I don't have one.
So you wouldn't, that's not something that you feel like you would need to do. If someone entered your home criminally with the intent to hurt you,
throughout my
you don't
whole
want to
life,
protect
I
your
haven't thought
family.
about that. My family's
Well,
never
it's
had a
something
gun.
everybody should, because it happens often. And I've lived it. I've lived it personally. My father was a police captain for 30 years. I've lived it personally, and I've seen it. And I'll always defend that right for people to be able to defend their homes and their families.
Yeah,
And
no one's arguing against that. We're just saying that there are common sense gun control legislation that you can engage in to save lives. And other countries have done it. And you still have the ability to protect yourself in those countries.
well, and those countries still have knife attacks and things like
To
that
lesser
also.
degree than the United States. Name the country that you're
Well,
referencing that has higher stabbing rates than the U.S.
yeah, but they still have attacks, I'm saying. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
but
you
to
can't
lesser
stop
degrees.
everything.
To lesser degrees.
Yeah, but I'm also saying, I will say this, and I'll probably finish with
Wait,
this,
don't you
but
want to reduce the likelihood of people dying of these different types of attacks?
I would love to reduce the likelihood
So
of it.
if there's
But
things
here's
that
my
countries have done that have reduced the likelihood of people dying of
but
these attacks, why
here's
don't you
my
support them?
argument. Here's my argument to that. I would love for that to happen. I don't have children, but if I did, I would not want to feel the way a lot of moms feel
I don't have
sending their
children,
kids
but
to
if I did
school.
have children, I'd want them to be protected in the school system. I wouldn't want to
Well,
have to
and I
worry
would
about the
too.
fact that there
And
could be someone that could
would
come into the
too.
school system and unalive them, or when they're in public, or when they're out doing something.
And I
I
would
don't
too.
want my
And
kid
here's
to be at risk of the death of gun violence. I think that's a significantly greater likelihood to happen if we do not have this gun control legislation. I care about the conditions for my children, and I think it's actually more likely, right, if there's such gun access in our country that they're going to be a victim of gun violence, then again, if there's a situation where we have less access to guns, less gun violence, and we're in the context of our households, right, and there's already doors that are locked, right, you understand that, again, in those countries that you're referencing, they can still defend themselves, they can take care of themselves, and it's less likely for people to be murdered. It's less likely for people to get attacked in this type of way. Why wouldn't
No,
you
I
want to
would
reduce the likelihood of this happening?
here's what I would say, that the government needs to give money to the schools to employ veterans, for one, veterans to be at every school, to be armed at every school. That would be a great way to give veterans a job to do after they're out of the military, is to stand guard at schools and be armed and protect schools. I think that would be a fantastic idea, and I think they should have the funding to do that. Or to have, they do have already school resource officers.
So instead
in
of
a lot of
reducing
places.
access to guns to limit the likelihood of this happening, you have to do something
Well-
that hasn't been play tested by any country around the world to be effective to a greater extent than what we're referencing.
Yeah, because
what
you
I'm
know why?
referencing, what I'm referencing is something that has been tried, has been proven to have been effective. What you're referencing is something that has not been proven to have been effective.
And you
now,
wanna know
could
why?
you could you do that on top of this to a greater extent? Maybe, but you understand that that doesn't actually address the root cause.
And you want
And
to know
also,
why?
like, I don't. Who said that
Because-
more guns were going to fix the problem? Wouldn't we say that there's a greater level of violence here because of the amount of guns that there is in this country?
Here's what I'm gonna tell you. You want to know why? Because you bad guys and people who want to get guns are always going to get guns in this country.
To a
And
lesser
they are
degree, if there's
open-
less legal access to it, because
They
you
can
want to know
pop
something
right
crazy?
over the border into
the
Mexico
black
and get
market,
one
where
if
you
they
get it
didn't
from the
have one
black
here.
market, it'll be more expensive if there's a lower supply. So what you do
That's-
oftentimes is you make it super expensive for them to get access to these weapons in the first place by limiting the supply, right, as much
They're
as you
still gonna
possibly
get 'em.
can, which then causes the price to go up.
They're still going to get them. If they really want to get them, they're going to get them.
So again, why does it happen to a lesser extent in all of these other countries that we're referencing? They have lower rates of gun violence. They don't have school shootings to the same degree as we have here in the United States. And we fucking wake up every single week and we see a fucking school shooting. We see a fucking mass shooting in this country because, again, we don't care to do the fucking gun control legislation and we just care to give people thoughts and prayers. And I think that's ridiculous and absurd. And I think that we absolutely need to do something. And if we don't do something, kids are going to fucking die. People you care about could
I
fucking
am
die,
not
and that's not
against
something
doing
that you want to.
something.
That's not something you want to risk or gamble. Right? We don't
No,
want to risk
I'm
and
not
gamble our
against
loved
doing
ones,
something,
right? To be
but
a
they're not
possible
doing anything
person
at all.
that could be a victim of gun violence.
I'm saying, but at least start with getting the schools armed. Let the teachers be armed if they want to
Dude,
be armed.
Why you think arming teachers? Wait, I'm sorry. By the way, I know teachers. They're not going to just get armed. What are you talking
Not
about?
all of them, but some of them. I know some that would like to be able to be armed. So let the ones that want to be armed to protect them and their students be armed. Have armed officers, have armed veterans at schools. Like, those are ways that you can help stop these things. Give the schools the funding they need to protect the schools. But I don't think taking guns away is going to be the answer. I just don't.
But it
I
has
don't
been
think-
in so many instances, right, to been effective to do this. And it's not taking away every single gun. but it does the limiting of it
Well, what
does
guns do you want to take
inevitably
away?
reduce death.
What
That's
guns
just the
do you want to take
reality.
away?
Wait, I'm sorry.
What
You're
guns do you
pro-life,
want to
right?
take
Are you
away?
pro-life?
I am pro-life.
So you want to restrict access to bodily autonomy to save human life in the context of abortion, but you don't want to restrict access to
But
guns to
wait,
save human
wait.
life in the context of gun control?
Yeah, but what guns do you want? What guns do you want to be banned? What guns? Tell me what guns.
I don't know the conditions of all guns. Any gun that could lead to lower amounts of deaths overall, if we banned it, I would support getting rid of that
Well, that's
gun.
any gun, Parker. That's
Oh,
I'm asking you what specific
then
guns.
if it's true about every gun, then I would love to get rid of every single gun because I want to save lives. I care more about saving lives. But I don't necessarily think there's arguments to say that's true about everyone, and there are constitutional issues with getting or limiting access to pistols. But practically everything else, right, there is free play from a constitutional perspective.
I mean, because in a lot of cases, you can get a pistol that has a mag that can support 15 or 16 rounds. So you can have.
I mean, we want to reduce high-capacity magazines as well.
Well, that's pistols too. So pistols can do just as much damage.
And pistols can be limited in terms of high-capacity magazines as well.
And see, I'll never agree with that whatsoever,
Why?
ever at all. I just won't because
you think you need 30 bullets in a pistol?
I believe in having an armed society. I believe in being
you
able to
believe
protect
everyone
you
should
and
be
your
armed. Yeah,
family.
you believe people should be walking on the streets with their guns out, like it's
Not
GTA.
open carry. I'm against open carry.
Why?
Period.
You don't think they should be able to
Because I
protect their
think-
families in public?
No, I think
Why
people
not?
who carry open carry are incredibly stupid. I
No,
think
why
that they
not?
are a lot
No,
of
I'm serious.
times.
You don't think that they should be able to protect their families in public?
I'm saying open carry. I don't believe in. Not concealed carry. Open carry.
Okay,
And why
so-
I don't and why I don't believe in open carry is I see so many people who are open carrying that are doing it just for show. I could walk right up to them and pull that gun out and they wouldn't even know because they're not situationally aware of anything. They're just doing it for show. And those are the type of people that shouldn't have them. But they would probably
gun
qualify
control?
for it.
So gun control?
But
You don't
they
want
would
them to qualify?
for
You
it.
don't think
No,
they should
but
qualify?
that's what I'm saying.
You
They
think
would
maybe they
probably
should be
qualify
taught?
for having
Maybe
it.
you think maybe they should be taught not to act that
They
way with
could
a gun?
still be taught. They could still be taught, Parker, and they just want to act like a badass and show that they got a gun on their hip and they don't know what
you
they're
see
doing.
what I
with
mean?
it.
It's so cringe, dude.
But that's what I'm saying. You can't. It's not something you can fix all the way across the board. Is what I'm
I don't
trying
want
to tell
my kids
you.
to have to grow up in a society where fucking everyone's armed at school. Like, is that a crazy thing to say? I would love to, like, reduce the likelihood of it happening so that my kids don't have to live in a society where they have to fucking see an armed guard at every single exit. Like, Jesus
It's
Christ.
not-
dude,
it's
I want
not
them to,
crazy
you want
to
our kids to live in,
say.
like, a police state. You'd prefer them to live in a police state rather than lose access to toy guns.
No, it's not crazy to say, but it's realistic of what this world is
It's
coming
not
to.
realistic.
It's what this world
What's
is
realistic
at.
is looking at what other countries
It's-
have done that reduce the likelihood of people dying and then adopting that here. I'm not saying I know every single aspect of that. I'm just saying any situation where empirically it shows to be just or reduce the likelihood of death of people dying in these circumstances, right, comparative to the amount of people that would be saved, I would support it because I care more about people's lives than I care about fucking guns.
Well, and see, that's where people.
And then you
those of
virtue
us-
signal and try to say that the reason why you care about guns is to protect people's lives. When inevitably, I
Yes,
just
exactly.
said that if it doesn't protect more lives, right, and we lose more lives from having access to it, then I would say that it would be wrong, right, and we shouldn't do that, and we should get rid of it.
Guns do. Here, let me give you an example. There are multiple accounts where because someone was concealed carrying a gun in a mall or in different situations, they were able to stop a shooter in a church.
Yeah, but what is the
They were
likelihood
able
of
to
that?
stop a shooter. It
I
has
understand,
happened.
But I
It
understand
has
it's
happened
happened.
multiple
I
times.
understand it's happened, but what's the likelihood of that? We talk about
It-
proportionality.
yeah, but it's happened multiple times. And how many lives were saved at that moment because
So give me
they
a
had a
source
gun
on that.
them?
Give me a source that there's more guns. The guns in these circumstances and concealed carry save more lives. Can you just give
I
me
don't know if
any
there
evidence
is a
of that? I would
source
love a
on that.
source.
I don't know if
Again,
there
I
is a
told
so-
you, if you can
there's-
provide a source that it saves more lives, then I'm
Well, I don't
in
know if there's
support
a
of it.
statistic.
If you
There's-
could
I don't know that
justify to
there's
me,
been-
listen, if you could justify to me that concealed carry, right, saves more lives, then I will be in support of it.
Well, I don't know that
But
there's been a
there's
study
not
done
a
on that. But
source.
what I'm telling you,
That's what's important.
but what I'm telling you is that there are instances. There was a church that I know of in Texas where someone had a gun on them and they were able to stop someone that came in to shoot everybody up in the church. and had
and again, I'm
that
not
person
saying
not
that.
had that, how many people would have died if that person didn't have that?
Oh my gosh, you
Or
listen
in a
to this.
mall?
If you want to look at the overall amount of deaths that happen, I'm pointing to countries that have overall lower levels of death rates, specifically relating to these guns. You understand that, right?
I get what you're saying, but I'm trying to get you to see.
If
I'm
they have
trying to get
lower
you to see
all,
my
wait,
viewpoint as
I never
well.
said that no one should have a gun at all. I just said, in these circumstances, because again, there's a constitutional issue with getting rid of pistols. I said if there's an empirical basis to say that it saves more lives to get rid of a gun, then I would say that we should. And do you disagree with that reasoning?
Any reasoning, I'm going to disagree with getting rid of guns.
Any reason?
Yeah, because I don't believe that. I don't believe
That is
that.
absurd. Wait, do you think there should be
No,
fully automatic weapons
I'm
that people
sitting
should be
here,
able to get
because
access
I'm
to?
sitting here telling you why. I'm
Okay,
telling you why.
so do you believe people should be able to get access to fully automatic weapons?
I'm to be honest, I'm not for any gun control. I'm just not.
Okay, so
I'm
you
just
believe people
not.
should be able to get access to fully automatic AK-47s?
If that's what they want to do, go for it.
If
But
they should be able to get access to miniguns.
to what?
Miniguns.
Miniguns. What's a minigun?
You don't know what a minigun is? Like the really big ass fucking gun that shoots really quickly. What about RPGs?
Oh, no. Now there's a
Why
point.
not?
That's not a gun to me. An
Wait,
RPG
why
is
not?
not what I really consider a gun.
Why not?
But
Why not?
those are military grade. If they're military grade,
Oh,
then
an AK-47 that's fully automatic isn't military grade to you?
and no, I don't think that's a military grade. I don't think that's considered military grade.
Yeah. You wouldn't consider again.
But I would say anything military
That's
grade.
absurd.
No,
That is
I don't
so
believe
absurd.
that should
Why
be.
do you need a fully automatic AK-47?
I just don't believe in gun control. That's just my stance.
So then
on
you shouldn't believe in any gun control in relation to, again, right, an RPG. I should be able to get an RPG and a tank. Nuclear weapons.
No, I'm not going to be that ridiculous and to say that
Okay, so
military
you
grade
do
should
believe
be
in a
in the hands of
restriction.
civilians.
So you do believe in a restriction. So why do you think
Yeah,
fully
I just
autos?
don't. I just logically think that most people would accept that military grade munitions of that sort, RPG, things like that, are not to be in the hands of civilians. They shouldn't be.
Yeah, and the
I
same
mean, I
thing should
just-
also be said about fully automatic weapons. Right?
And that's gonna be something that a lot of people are gonna be half and half on. Probably.
You think that there should be people with AK-47s defending
Do I think I need
elementary
one?
students?
No. Do I think I need one? No. Do I have an AR-15? Yes.
We should have people with AK-47s that specifically taking care and defending our schools, right?
I don't know that that's what they necessarily need, but if they want to have it,
If they want one, so a teacher can have an AK-47 in their classroom.
well, no, I'm not gonna.
Why,
no,
wait,
I'm
why
not gonna
not?
say that.
Why not? You just said that.
Parker, be reasonable.
You're telling me to be reasonable, please, bro. You're telling
going for a
me to be
shock factor
reasonable
with that. I
She
mean,
just
you
told
know,
me
there's
to be reasonable. I can't even.
you're
believe
going for a shock factor with that, but you know,
You're the
I
one
think
saying that you should have legal access to AK-47s fully auto, and I'm saying.
I mean,
and I'm
I
saying,
personally, I don't.
I'm saying,
I don't
because you
need
said
that.
teachers, if they want, they should be able to be armed. Should they be
I'm just
allowed to
saying,
be
I
armed
don't
with
need
a
that.
fully automatic AK-47?
Do I think they need that? No. Do I think that
should they be
they're-
allowed
I
to do
think-
that?
Okay, here's what I'm gonna tell you. If
I don't
they're
think anyone
going to
needs
allow,
a fully automatic AK-47. Jesus Christ,
I
who are you
think that
fighting? The fucking, you're fighting spec ops?
no, but you know, there's a lot of veterans that are going to have that. There's a lot of people that are going to want to have that. Do I think that you need to go through clearances? Yes. Do I think you need to go through training? Yes. All of those things I believe in wholeheartedly. I don't think anybody should own a gun that has not went through a concealed carry course, that has not went through an introductory course, that has not went through a background check. I fully agree with all of that. But I don't believe in taking away rights to any guns other than the military grade ones. That's just what that's where I
fully
stand.
automatic guns. Can you say that they meet military grade? And by the way, that's
An
gun control. I just want you to
AK-47?
know, you support some level of gun control, right?
If it's military grade, then that's what I think doesn't belong in the hands of civilians.
And why military grade doesn't belong in the hands of civilians? Are you saying that they don't need it?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah, you
think
don't
that
need
they
an
need that.
AR-15.
I have an AR-15.
You don't need
So
it.
I mean, I have one. Do
you need it?
You never know when you're going to need something. That's
Yeah,
the whole
yeah.
point of it, though.
So you need the AR-15.
The reason for it is so you have an armed society against a tyrannical government. You never know. As much as you hate Trump, don't you
Yeah.
think at some point he could turn on this country and make it a military state? And wouldn't you want people who are able to defend?
You understand that? Wait, I'm sorry. I
against-
don't think our access to AR-15 is going to change that. I mean, they
But
have
I'm
drones,
saying,
and by the way, he already
wouldn't you
has
want-
turned on the American people. So
I know, but I'm
the point that
saying
I'm
if you
making is
had a
that you are not
tyrannical
fighting.
government-
You are not fighting the government. That's not happening.
I'm just saying there is a point in which that is what that was deemed for, is in the case of a tyrannical government, for a society to be able to defend themselves against the government. That was the whole point.
So then we
of
should
that.
be able to have nuclear weapons to defend ourselves against the government, right?
Oh,
'Cause
Parker,
The government has a nuclear weapon, so I need a nuclear weapon in case a tyrannical government is trying to take us out. I'm serious. I have to have it.
That's not even close to the case.
How
at
not?
all.
How not? How not? I need to have an RPG. I need to have tanks. 'Cause
I
we have
did
to fight
not
the
say
government.
anybody should have an RPG. I
I need
never
I need
said
an
that.
RPG. Yes, I do. I need that to fight the government. What if a tyrannical government happens?
I never said that. Never for that.
I'm
never
saying
said
it right
that.
now. Come on. We have to be able to defend ourselves against the tyrannical government, so we need RPGs.
I don't support
I'm
that.
serious.
That's not.
No, but we are super pro RPGs here, right? So we think that there should be
Where do
legal
you get
access.
that I'm so
No,
pro
listen.
RPG?
We believe that there should be legal access to RPGs on every street corner.
Where do you
We
get?
have-
When did I say that?
We have to be able to fight the government.
When
We
did I
have
say
to-
that?
We have to ensure that the tyrannical government can't take over. We need RPGs on every street corner.
Parker, I didn't say that, and you know that.
I'm just saying, like, there's nothing, you have no argument against this, by the way. From
No,
your own
I
position.
said I told you I don't believe that military grade anything should be in the hands of civilians. That's
But
it.
like you said,
That's-
because people don't need it, and I just argued the same thing against you. You don't need the AR-15 that you own.
I don't have any problem with the AR-15s or the AK-47s. I don't have any problem with that.
You just
but-
fully automatic AK-47s. People can have it, but you have a problem with that, like say a teacher carrying it. Do you think a teacher should be able to have an AR-15 in the
No,
classroom?
I think if they were going to allow teachers, then there should be restrictions as to what they're
Wait,
allowing in a
gun
classroom.
control.
Okay, you want to call it gun control, then you can call it gun control if that makes you happy.
Wow, you're saying gun control is effective?
But that's in a school for the teachers
yeah.
if they're going to carry.
Wait,
then
so
yes.
why are gun controls more effective in schools?
Okay, do you want a teacher carrying that in a school?
No,
Okay, so I don't
because
I don't think most people would.
because gun control makes sense.
No, I'm not as a whole. It does not. But I did, like I said.
But you do support gun control in this
consider-
circumstance, though. You support restrictions on people's access to
consider-
guns.
I support gun control in the sense of background checks, in the sense of
Universal?
making them sure, universal background checks, in the sense of making someone have to take a course to operate a gun first so that they know exactly what they're doing with it.
Okay, those are two good things.
Also, what was the other thing?
These are gun control policies, by the way.
Okay, but yes, so some we can agree
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah,
that
so, like-
some is good, but I'm not in
So
favor
why
of
is
all.
your sum of gun control acceptable, but our sum of gun control is bad?
Because your son wants to take it all away.
We never said every single gun is being able to be taken away. And by the way,
Well, I just asked you. Wouldn't you want
yeah,
the
again,
ability
I told
to
you multiple times
protect?
there's constitutional limitations to taking away pistols, for example.
But even you, your personal self, wouldn't you want to be able to protect you, yourself, your family, in your home if
I
someone
don't
was
own a
to come
gun.
in? And you never want to.
I mean, I could maybe, but the max I would do is a pistol.
Well, I hope that you would someday consider it, just to protect you and your family that you may have one day.
May I
hope that you
interject?
would.
Absolutely.
Okay, so statistically, you have less than a 1% chance of being the good guy with a firearm protecting yourself, and those statistics can be found at Rutgers. There's been several studies that have shown that. So Parker has a better chance of protecting himself without one than he does with one, and that's coming from somebody that I actually own one as well. But I did want to back up a little bit because I'm always surprised by this tyrannical government argument, right? Can you tell me where in the Second Amendment that it says that it was designed to fight the tyrannical government?
Parker loves it. I know. No, that's what I've always been told. That's what I've
Right.
always been told. Can I read it for you? No, but that's what I've always been told, is that was the point of the Second Amendment, was to be able
Right.
to arm a society against a tyrannical government.
Yeah, I mean that's
Not the
crazy.
hunting argument. I don't give you the hunting argument
No, no,
because I
no.
don't really think that's necessary, but
What I'm saying though is that it doesn't say that in the Second Amendment, but do you know what it does say in the Constitution?
what? Tell
The
me.
exact opposite. Right. So Article 1, Section 8, Clause 15 says that Congress shall call forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union to suppress insurrections and repel invasions. What is an insurrection?
What happened on January 6th?
I was gonna say, what y'all say happened on January 6th is what you're going to say an insurrection is. So
Right. It's a violent trying to violently overthrow the government, whether they're tyrannical or not. So if you try to overthrow a tyrannical government by our own articles within our Constitution, the government will call forth that same militia that we're talking about in the Second Amendment to put people down. So it has never been about fighting a tyrannical government.
but don't you believe in the case of even say a civil war that happens? Don't I mean you obviously are pro-gun if you have one. Don't you want to be armed? Don't you want to have the ability to protect your property, your family?
Like I just said, you have a less than 1% chance of protecting yourself, and you're talking about a civil war against who? The U.S. military?
No, I'm just saying in general. They keep saying over and over again, that's probably what the next war will actually be. Not World War III, it'll be a civil war. Just based on
I might need a gun for the zombie apocalypse too.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't believe in that either, but So, I mean, I'm just saying I'm always going to be I'm always going to be pro-gun. I'm always going to be for protecting yourself. Like I said, I grew up in a law enforcement family. I've seen the worst of it. I have a little bit of my own experience. I know what it's like. So that less than 1% chance, I think, is a little bit more than you think.
No. I mean, if you can give me the studies that say differently.
I can't give you the studies. I can just give you the real life experience.
Right. Oh, so we're gonna bypass facts and stats and go with anecdotal stories because
I think
we can
someone's
do
real
this.
life experience
Yeah. All right. Let me tell you about real life experience.
is true.
Yeah, I know. 100%. Let me tell you about real life experience. Real life experience is sending your fourth grade son, your 10-year-old son, to school and him never coming home. That's real life experience.
I would totally agree. I don't have children, but I have nieces and nephews, and my sister is very
Right.
liberal and she's very against guns. And I have this argument with her. She
Yeah.
is very scared to send her daughter to school, and her daughter's school is literally right behind their house.
Right.
I understand that.
And for good reason. You don't understand though. And I don't.
No, I do.
Here's the thing. I only want you to imagine. I don't ever want you to understand or anybody that you know understand, because I actually know that firsthand.
Well, I'm sorry that you do.
Well, I appreciate that. But here's the thing. If common sense firearm reform had been implemented beforehand, my son would still be here. If we had done something after Columbine, our children would still be here. We can just continue and continue, right? Firearms are the number one unaliver of children. Why are we not doing something about it? Because literally all the fire reform that I talk about or Parker talks about, what that does literally is just make it harder for people that shouldn't have firearms to get them. Because like I said myself, I own a firearm. universal background checks, red flag laws, safe storage laws, those don't affect me. They don't infringe on my rights. Written and physical tests, IQ eval before purchasing, licensing, insuring, and registering. None of that affects my ability or infringes upon my right to own a firearm. So why are we against those things?
Sorry, there's like a little bit of like a I think it's like a bell sound almost. It was happening earlier. It might be like a TikTok glitch that's happening right now.
I saw
heard
that.
it.
I heard it at the last second that I was
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah, there's like a little bit of ring. I don't know what that is actually.
So, for one, like I said, I'm very, very sorry that you experienced that. And nobody should have to experience that. Very, very sorry that you experienced that. So,
I
don't want to
appreciate
diminish
that.
at all.
Well, I appreciate that. And unfortunately, there's at least 2 more families that have to experience that tonight.
Is that something, I don't know if, is that something that recently happened?
My son? No, my son was taken from me in Uvalde.
Oh, okay. I'm very sorry. I'm
There's
not far from you, but
I appreciate that. But
I'm
there
very
was
sorry.
there was literally an active person today live at Brown University. You know, and I got to tell you this, right? Like, because I can go through all the stats and the facts. I can go through what the founder said. I can go through case law. I can do all of that because I do this daily. But what I want to impart with you is literally you're choosing against reform. And you know what people are having to find out right now, literally, whether their loved one is coming home. And I want you to think about this, right? There are at least 2 Christmas trees that have presents and everything. Those presents are never going to be open because those people are not coming home, right? Somebody's babies are not coming home. You know, they're going to have to make the same decision that I made. What are they going to put on the casket? I've had to make that decision. What are they going to dress their loved one in for the last time that they get to dress? What are they going to do? Those are the choices that I've had to make. Me and my wife have had to make because people care more about guns than they do about children.
No, I understand. I don't understand. I understand in the sense of I lived my whole life that way and not knowing if my dad was going to come home every night because he was a police officer. So
And I understand that. I understand
I
that
get
too.
that. So I
But
think that's
no,
why.
no.
But what? Let me ask you.
Yeah, let me,
What is
and then you can
your-
ask me. Yeah, let me just say something and then you can ask me, right? Here's the difference though, and not to take away anything from you or your father, but your father signed up for that. My son signed up to go to the class.
Yeah.
These kids at Brown, they signed up to go to class. They didn't sign up to put their lives on the line. They signed up to learn, to be educated, and to grow, and to mature, and to blossom. That's what they chose.
Yeah. No, they didn't choose that. They didn't deserve that, and they didn't choose that. And they shouldn't have to. They shouldn't. I mean, it's heartbreaking. I totally understand that. But what I'm asking you is what, from a parent who's went through that, then what is your solution to that?
An assault weapons ban, universal background checks, red flag laws, safe storage laws, written and physical tests before purchasing, psych evals before purchasing, licensing, insuring, registering, raising the age as well.
I wouldn't be opposed. The only thing I would say about raising the age is I feel like if at 18 you're old enough to join the military, you're old enough to buy a gun.
Raise the age to join the military then, because the way that the military goes after these young kids and these young adolescents is very predatorily. You notice that they only go to high schools and everything to recruit in underprivileged schools and everything like that. They don't go to private schools or anything. It is very predatory. But raise the age.
Yeah, they are. And it's worse now because many more people are not signing up to be in the military than used to. So their recruitment rates are down. So it's not surprising. But I'm with you on all that except the assault weapons. And
what do you need one for?
It's not really what you need one for. It's just the general. I don't think that there should be a ban on it.
Right. Why?
I just don't. I don't have a reason to give you, to be very honest. I don't have a reason to give you. I just don't.
not that they are used in some of the biggest or the most high profile mass unalivings. That's not a reason or anything.
Well, the thing is that like a lot of them, I do understand that a lot of these kids that have committed these mass shootings have gotten them from parents, from their collections, and they were not secured, obviously. So when you say secured weapons, I agree with that. I don't know how you
Right.
enforce that, though, is
Right.
the
Well,
problem.
right. Well, here's the thing: is the guy who did Parkland, he didn't get his parents. He turned 18 and went and bought them. The kid who the guy who went to my son's classroom turned 18 a few days later, went out and purchased them since he was legally able to.
Yeah. So see, if there's a lot of cases where that has been the case, then that gives argument to raise it. I just think that they also should then, like you said, raise the military.
Yeah, but the guy who did Las Vegas was in his 50s, and he
Well, yeah.
purchased a lot of ARs.
Well, he had a bump stock, and I mean, I'm not for bump stocks, so I don't. I mean,
Wait, didn't you earlier literally say people should legally be able to get access to AK-47s?
well, yes, but he had, I think, a whole different setup going on. Did you see his setup? He had a military, that's a
He had
military
what?
grade setup that he had, from what I.
And all he had was ARs. So yeah. So your whole argument earlier about people needing military grade versus not needing military grade, you just defeated your own point right there.
Well, not if he had an AR. If he said
didn't.
AK-47.
Well, he had ARs.
Well, then see, I don't know. I thought he had a whole military's from what I did not see it, but from what I saw or heard and read, he had a whole big military setup with bump stocks, the whole bit.
No, bump stocks isn't quote unquote considered military grade. So, like I said, you literally.
Well, then I would say bump stocks. I don't think there's a need for bump stocks. So if that's not necessarily military grade, then I would say. But I'm not against I have an AR. I'm not against the.
Right. So now we're going. But now we're going against needs. You said people don't need that. People don't need ARs. You don't need it for home defense. You don't need it for hunting. You don't need it for any of those things. You just want them. Like, here's the thing. I don't need a Lambo. I might want one, but I don't need one. My Ford will do just fine. So what do you need one for?
I can't give you an argument for what you need one for.
But you know what children need? To be able to go to school without losing their lives. Children need to be able to go to their friend's house without losing their lives. Children need to be safe in their own home without losing their lives.
But my argument to that is that there are pistols that have the same capacity that an AR-15 can have.
Crazy. Do you think that somebody could do Las Vegas with a pistol?
Well, not Las Vegas, no. But like I said,
then it doesn't have the same capability.
I know, but I'm saying, like in the case with a lot of these school shootings that have AR-15s, there's pistols that can do the same damage, that have higher capacity magazines.
Name me one pistol that can keep 376 cops sitting outside for 77 minutes.
Are you talking about Uvalde?
100%. Tell me which pistol could do that.
I will say Uvalde. I think you had a lot of bad law enforcement.
I mean, that is neither here nor there. I can agree with that. I mean, it was school, city, state, county. If the feds were there, the FBI showed up. So I'm not discounting that. But what pistol can keep 376 officers out for 77 minutes? Because literally, if you watch the videos, and trust me, I have, because I put together all the body cam footage that was released, and I released it my damn self because we weren't doing that. You know what they say over and over? What do? I don't want to get clapped. Literally their words. They were more afraid of that AR than they were anything else. They literally saw him walk into the school with the AR. Why didn't they do anything? Because they were terrified of that. So if our cops are terrified of it, and you're a cop daughter, you said right there, then shouldn't we do something about it? Just like with the Dallas attacks in 2016. How many officers were taken down?
6.
With what?
I couldn't tell you what the weapon was.
Yeah.
But I know.
AR.
But I'm
Yeah.
saying what I am saying is that most cops are not going to be scared of that. But
Most cops.
I do know that I remember watching that footage and thinking, what the hell's wrong with those cops?
Yeah. So
Why were they going in?
going back to the original thing, what pistol could keep 376 officers out that were armed to the teeth, mind you?
Probably not any, but
Okay,
I
so
don't
then
think
it's not
but I
comparable.
also don't think an AR-15 should have ever kept them out. So
Whether it should or it shouldn't have doesn't mean anything because it did, right? So then it's not comparable. So once again, I need to ask, why do you need one?
I told you, I don't have a reason to give you for why you need one. I just am pro A. I think that you should be able to buy a gun and have a gun that you want. If that's an AR-15, if that's a pistol, if that's a rifle.
That leads back. Well, that leads back to what Parker was saying. We're pro RPG here. Why not have RPGs?
But I agree. There's a line to be drawn with it.
Okay,
Hey, you get to decide that line.
I'm not deciding that line, but I'm just saying in my mind, there's a
Why
line
don't
that
you
should be
accept
drawn.
Brett's line? Why don't you accept Brett's line?
Because I don't think there's anything wrong with the AR-15. I understand where he's coming from, and I'm not going to diminish that because I'm not going to. I understand where you're coming from, and probably, hey, you know what? If I was in your position, I may have a different thought to it.
So do
to
it
be very
before you are.
honest.
So fight before you are in my position, because I can tell you what the one regret that I have in this life. I don't have any regrets. The good, the bad, the ugly, anything that I've done in this life, it is in the past. I can't change it. No regrets. But the one regret that I do have is not fighting for my son when I had the chance, when he was still here, because now I fight. I fight like hell all day, every day. But it doesn't bring my son back. So how about you decide to fight for your nieces and nephews before it's too late? Because let me just let you in on something. This is America. It is not a matter of if you are going to be affected by gun violence. It is a matter of when. Literally tonight, I know 2 students that were in 2 separate school shootings across the country. One from Saugus High School, one from Parkland. Were both at Brown University tonight and suffered their second one. That is how prevalent these things have been. So I urge you, I urge you. And like I said, nothing that I say or do can bring back my son, but it can prevent your siblings from making the same decisions that I had to make for your nieces and nephews.
I understand why you're passionate about it. I understand that. I get it. I'm not going to diminish that. I understand why you're passionate about it. And, you know, and
But you need to be
maybe it'll
passionate
sit-
about it for
maybe-
your nieces and nephews.
I get that. I guess, you know, I just don't it's like I was said earlier, you know, everybody lives by their lived experiences, and I know that you should also think in another way, like Parker has said as well. I'm not diminishing that at all. So I
See
have a
the
line
difference?
where
The
I draw
difference?
with it, but that's
Right.
not the same line you draw with it.
Well, the difference is that I don't want you to have my lived experience. I don't want anybody
No, I
to have
know
my
that.
lived experience. Parker doesn't have my lived experience, but has seen through my lived experience the devastation and everything like that. And that is what you need to do as well. You need to think about somebody other than yourself, especially your nieces and nephews. I cannot stress this enough.
Well,
You
that's why
need
I
to think
teach
about them.
them. That's why I also am big on teaching them gun safety at a very young age. Like I'm
Cool.
that's something I'm very pro is like I don't
that-
mind them having them at a young age and having them be secured away from them in safes, but also teaching them gun safety at a very young age.
That's awesome. How does that protect them in their school?
I'm not saying that it does, but I'm just saying it also helps to not raise children who would do something like that too, hopefully.
Cool.
Hopefully.
How does it protect them in their schools?
It can't protect them other than to teach them just the basics that they're learning in school. Sadly, I didn't have to learn those things when I was in school, but now they have to. They have to go through drills for if something like that
Right.
happens. They shouldn't have to. I'm not going to disagree with that. So
How does that protect them when they go to a friend's house and their friend pulls it out?
actually, I can speak to that because that happened with my nephew in the last 2 weeks. And he immediately left and came home and told his parents. You know, another kid was very fascinated with those, and so
Awesome.
I
Awesome.
understand
Good,
that
good for your
happens.
nephew. How does that protect him at Walmart or church or a splash pad
Well,
or a
that's the
mall?
thing. I mean, a child's not going to be able to protect themselves. That's
Right.
why they have
Exactly.
parents
So
to
we
protect
need
them.
to, and what we need to do is do proactive measures to make sure that the people that shouldn't have firearms do not have access to the firearms instead of waiting until it's too late.
Well, I'm not, like I said, I'm not against most of what you said, other than I'm just not for taking away the rights to those guns.
What rights?
To be able to buy an
You,
AR.
you don't have a right to, you have a privilege to. Under
Well,
DCB Heller
you're right, a
2000.
privilege, but
Yeah, under
it's
DCB Heller, you only have the right, the individual right to own a pistol for home defense. That is the only thing. Everything else is a privilege. So you don't have that right.
what do you think about shotguns?
What do you mean? What do I think about them?
Do you think that you should be able to have those in your home?
I don't care. It's not a right though. That would be once again a privilege.
Because that's a shotgun is what, I mean, it's going to do a whole lot of damage, but it's something that is generally used in home defense because of the wide range that it has.
Generally, I would love to see the sources and the stats for that.
The shotgun is not better for home defense.
No, better than an AR. It's better than an RPG. It's better than a grenade. Yeah, obviously.
Well,
but you're saying it's the best.
No, no, I'm just saying like I'm saying a pistol is a little bit harder to shoot with in home defense. It requires a little bit more aim, and you're gonna, if you're at night and someone's broken into your home, if you don't have a sight on it,
you have a better chance
of
protecting yourself with a fire extinguisher.
No, a shotgun actually, you cock a shotgun and someone breaks into your house and you cock a shotgun, I can guarantee you they're going to take off and back out right where
except that happens less than 1% of the time. I've already given you those statistics. You have a better chance.
I would disagree, just because
this isn't an opinion.
I lived a life of hearing these experiences, and
right.
they happen a lot.
Right. This isn't an opinion. This is a fact. These are stats. So I don't care if somebody disagrees, but you literally have a less than 1% chance. You have a better chance protecting yourself with a fire extinguisher. I know that sounds silly. I know that sounds goofy.
It does. I mean, it does sound silly,
right.
but
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. What does a fire extinguisher do?
I'm not going to use. I don't even have a fire extinguisher, and I'm not going to use it as a self-defense mechanism.
You can put out a fire and protect yourself. So what a fire extinguisher does is it removes the oxygen from the air, because that's how it extinguishes the fire. What happens if you cannot breathe?
Are you going to use a fire extinguisher against somebody that has a gun that came into your home?
I damn sure would. 100%. 100%. Because neither you nor myself are trained well enough to understand or be capable of wielding a firearm in case of a home break-in. You can go to the range as much as you want. It doesn't matter, because all you are doing is sitting and shooting a still target. That's it. It doesn't move, and even if it does move slightly, it's still not much. It doesn't simulate anything, and nor does it kick in your fight, flight, or freeze that would happen in a home invasion.
No, you're not going to have that unless you've actually been in the scenario.
Exactly. So we're not trained enough.
So, but I can guarantee you that if someone comes into my home and they hear a shotgun cocked, they're going to think twice about taking one more step forward. And I'm going to protect my home and whoever's in my home.
Yeah, literally at a less than 1% chance. And I'm not telling you not to. Here's the thing. This is what, it's kind of veered off course, and I do apologize for that, Parker. But here's the thing. I'm not saying anything about protecting your home. Whatever. I could care less. Honestly, do you? right? I could care less. But the fact is that guns are the number one killer of children, and that is what I have a problem with. So, okay, cool. You can pass everything. Awesome. I'm proud. I'm happy. More people need to be able to, but we need to implement these things so that it is harder for the people that should not have these weapons to have them. Because, like, for instance, my son's murderer, right? Had we had an assault weapons ban, he would not be able to do it because he tried for years to get a firearm illegally and couldn't. The only time that he could was when he turned 18 and he was old enough to buy a rifle, an AR. Because guess what he couldn't buy? He couldn't buy a handgun. You have to be 21, right? So he wouldn't have been able to do that. If we look at Appalachia High School, that happened in Georgia. Had there been red flag laws there, he could have had his firearms removed. But unfortunately, Georgia doesn't have them. And he was even known to the FBI, but they couldn't remove his guns because they didn't have red flag laws. And it's just over and over, so many lives can be saved if we just implement these things, including an assault weapons ban. We've already had one. We had one from 1994 to 2004. During that time, there was a 70% decrease in mass shootings. I think that's worth it.
So who removed the assault ban?
It's sunset.
I honestly don't remember there being an assault ban. So,
well, there was from 1994 to 2004. And then after 2004, there was an uptick of over 180% of mass shootings occurring.
well, like I said, I'm with you on most of that of what you said. That's the only thing that
Awesome.
I'm not with, but I'm with you and I understand why you are. And like I said,
Awesome. So
if I
vote
had
like
your
it.
experience, it may be different as well. I can't say that I can't 100% say that if I was in your shoes.
I don't want you to have my experience, but
But I'm just
if you
saying,
agree, if we agree, and listen, I can walk away. We can agree on most things. I can walk away happy right now. All I need you to do is vote for it.
Oh, I would vote for it. I mean, not the assault ban, but I would vote for everything else.
Right. So, okay. Can I have your word that you're going to vote for it?
You could absolutely have my word that I would vote
Awesome.
for
Then
the
that
rest
means
of
that you cannot vote Republican ever again.
No, I don't think that all Republicans are against all of that. I don't think. I've seen enough that are
Well,
at least
your
some
president, your vice president. You know what the Republicans in Congress did after Robb Elementary, Uvalde? You know what they did? They wore AR pins right after that, by the way. So listen, you gave me your word that you would vote for that. And I'm going to see if you're a
I
person
would
of your
vote for
word.
those laws. I said I would vote for
Right.
those
And
laws.
who implements those laws?
Well, no, those laws are put into place. That's
By
not
who?
voting for a party. It's voting for the laws itself.
No, 100%. Who puts the laws into place?
Our representatives, our senators.
That we vote in?
Yeah.
Right. So then you're gonna vote correctly, and you're gonna vote against everybody that is anti-firearm reform?
I'm not probably gonna vote Democrat. I don't
Oh,
unless
so fuck them kids. Got it. I got it.
unless it's down to, like I said, if it is down to something that came to certain specific things like that, I'm for that. I guess it depends on the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's things. Are you 100% against everything that Republicans stand for? There's not one thing that you agree with?
I mean, I can't think of one. No.
So
Let's see. Cutting mental health funding? Nope, not for that.
Well, I'm not for that either, but
affecting our LGBTQ community? Nope, not for that. I mean, if you're going to find, it's going to be hard pressed to find something that I agree with Republicans. But I can tell you this: I don't agree with everything that Democrats do, and in fact, I'm not even a Democrat. But when it comes down to saving children and making sure that children can survive long enough, because it isn't just about the guns either. Like, that is the biggest thing that I talk about. But literally,
it's mental health too with kids, and that's a big one for me as well.
You know what? You're right. So then, are you going to vote for representatives that vote for funding mental health care?
Here, let me tell you a little fun fact about me.
Well, I would love to hear it, but I need to know real quick. I'm so sorry, but I need to know: are you going to vote for candidates that actually vote for funding mental health care?
Actually, I would. I'm
Then you're never voting Republican again.
No. That's not what it's. I'm actually a registered Democrat, but I
Can you
then
name one
switched.
Republican that's advocated for mental health care to be funded?
I have heard Republicans advocate for it. I don't.
Such
I'm
as?
not. I'm not. I can't list you one, but I've not heard them against it. I've not heard any be against mental health. Like I've not heard any. I now. He did take away he did take away mental health funding. I do have to say, I did see that where he did take away the mental health funding, and I don't agree with that because I do believe mental health funding is a very, very important thing.
Parker,
And
check this. 1 second, Parker. Can you look it up for me real quick? Is it 7708 or 7780, the Mental Health Matters Act?
77 what?
Either 7708 or 7780. It's just the Mental Health Matters Act.
Is this the one, the recent?
It was for school-based mental health care, right? Do you know that
7780.
7780? Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, so every single Republican voted against that.
Every single Republican voted against mental health in schools.
Yeah, the Mental Health Matters Act.
I will have to look that up because have not seen that, heard of that, or anything.
Yep.
But-
HR 7780. Luckily, it did get passed, even though every single.
Well, how did it get
Republican voted against
passed?
it.
If they've all-
Actually, apparently there was one Republican that
Oh,
voted
one.
for it. One
My
singular one.
Who was the Republican?
Let me see. Give me 1 second. Let me pull up the vote fully. Which is crazy, by the way. That just tells you should support Democrats, right?
I'm just curious who the Republican was, just
Yeah,
to
I
know who actually was the only one that stood up and did it.
Give me 1 second. Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania.
Not even one I've heard of. So
What
that's
state are you from?
interesting.
Are you from Texas?
I am.
So you know how Cornyn and Cruz voted on it.
Oh, I do not like Ted Cruz at all.
Well, I'm just saying. So only one out of how many? Like 215 at the time? 216, something like that? Only one out of all of them voted for it. So we've agreed that you would vote for common sense gun reform. We agreed that you would vote for mental health. So what group, what political party advocates for both of those things?
I don't see where the conservative side is a completely. I mean, I see what you're saying, but I'm not hearing that necessarily that they're just completely against mental health matters. Like I don't see that.
I mean, 215 voted against it.
Like I said, that's news to me. That's not something I had heard at all. So that's news to me.
Why would they tell you that? Why would they tell you? Yeah, we're going to vote against mental health. We're going to blame shootings on mental health, and we're not going to do anything about it.
Well,
why would they tell you that?
I do think they've acknowledged that mental health is a big issue, and I do think mental health is a big issue with that. I think I don't think it's just a one thing, like you said. Like I don't think it's just guns and that's it. I think the mental health does play a big part of it.
Awesome.
It's just like
if you have mental health problems and you don't have access to a gun, can you do any of those things?
Well, kids can unalive themselves, and that's pretty bad too. So
No. I need you to answer that question. If you have mental health issues and you do not have access to a firearm, can you do a Uvalde?
no, but
If you have access to a gun and you don't have, you haven't had mental health checks or anything like that, and you're, you don't have any of those issues, can you still do that with access to a gun?
what I'm going to say to that is that there are ways to get them illegally. Is my only caveat to that.
Yeah, and
There are plenty that get them illegally.
Yeah, 70% of firearms use in crime are purchased legally, by the way.
But
So there's that.
but there is
Secondly,
a pretty good part that are too
yeah.
that are illegal. So
Yeah, and like I said, my son's shooter, he tried for years to illegally purchase it, but he wasn't able to. Why do you think that is?
that I don't know if he
Because
was
laws were
maybe.
intact, and as soon as
Well, maybe if he was in a big city, if he was in Houston, if he was in Austin, if he was in Dallas or something, and he went to the hood or something, he might be able to find someone that he could buy one from.
we
But
lived in Uvalde. That was about an hour drive. That's nothing in Texas. He had family in San Antonio. You think that he never went there?
I have no idea. I couldn't even tell you. Don't know. I don't know
I
anything
know, and
about
that I know, and that seems to be the problem, is a whole lot of not knowing, which is why we're trying to educate.
Well, and I get that. I understand why you're doing what you're doing. I understand it, and I respect it.
Do you understand why
So-
Parker's doing what he's doing? Because he doesn't have the same lived experience as me, and yet he's still here fighting for common sense gun reform. So my lived experience is not an excuse whether or not to fight for it or not. It's whether or not you care about kids.
Well, that you can't say that someone just doesn't care about kids just because they're
I
not
absolutely can. When the number one killer of children is gun violence, you absolutely can.
But also, there's a lot. Sadly, there's a lot of kids that are unaliving themselves in other ways too, and so it's becoming more prevalent, a lot more prevalent. And I know some people that have lost some kiddos to stuff like that.
And that is incredibly painful. I know, I understand. But did you realize that the mortality rate for self-deletion by firearm is 98.3%, whereas by any other measure, it is a fraction of that, meaning that you have a higher chance to survive, first and foremost. Secondly, you have a higher chance of never doing it again afterwards. We actually have studies on this as well.
Well, I don't know what those studies are, so I'm just saying I just know personally from what someone's told me that they went through this or they went through that, and that's what I know. I don't like you. I understand why you know all these stats, and I understand why you know them by heart, and I understand why you fight for it. I don't know those stats by heart to sit here and tell you or to disagree with them or not, and wouldn't disagree with them because I'm sure you're right. So,
Is I think you've been on for like 2 hours or so. I was gonna get going on to like the next person here in a second.
Oh yeah, go
you can say
ahead.
like your last few things before I go on to the next person.
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. It was a good time talking with you. And Brett, like I said, I'm very sorry. My heart goes out to you, honestly, and I really do hope that you get a lot accomplished that you're trying to.
I appreciate it, and you know what? You can help by voting in the correct people.
Well, I will take what you've said to heart. I promise that. Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Good talking to y'all.
Peace out. Peace out. Alrighty, everyone. Brett, I really appreciate you coming up, man. Thank you so much. Give me some W's for Brett, everyone, in the comments. I always appreciate you when you come up.
No, thank you. And I sent you a message, but I haven't got to thank you enough for last week as well, man. I truly do appreciate it. Check out my message, brother.
I definitely will. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
All right, much love. Thank y'all.
Much love. Much love. W's for Brett in the comment section, everyone. Always appreciate him coming up. Always appreciate him coming up. W's for him in the comment section. Melissa, by the way, thank you so much for the $20 on PayPal. Give me some W's from Melissa in the comment section right now. Honestly, diabolical. Thank you so much, though, Melissa. I really appreciate the $21. Thank you. Honestly, it's so crazy. Aaron, thank you so much for the $10. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Sam, thank you so much for the $1. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I'll definitely have to look into that, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Scott, thank you for the $6. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Amy, thank you so much for the $10. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Grandy, thank you so much for the $3.48. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Joshua with the $10. Thank you. I think I'm fully caught up there. Let me catch up on YouTube real quick, and then we're going to go on to the next person. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. Straight to 2,000 likes, everybody, if you're on YouTube. And if you're on TikTok, tap that screen. Try to get to 1 million likes, everyone, before we end it. WB, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $10. Thank you so much, WB. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Rye, thank you so much for really pushing the $10. Thank you so much. Angel, thank you so much for the $10. Thank you. Can we some W's for Angel in the comments? Sin, thank you so much for the $20. I really appreciate it, Sin. Thank you so much. Can we some W's for Sin as well? WB, thank you for the $5. Hugh, thank you for the 5. Damien, thank you so much for the $10. I really appreciate it, of course. Thank you. Jeff, thank you so much for the $20. I really appreciate it, Jeff. Thank you. Silent, thank you for the $2. Cornell, thank you so much for really appreciate the $10. Jennifer with the 10 as well. Libby, thank you so much for the 10. That's so funny. Sage, thank you for the $10 as well. Thank you. Grandy, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $10. Lewis, thank you so much for the 10. Societal, thank you so much for the $2. Grandy, thank you for the 5. Silent, thank you for the $10. Thank you so much, Silent. Blade, thank you for the 5. Naomi, thank you so much for the 10. I think I am fully caught up. If I did miss anyone's donation, I do really apologize, everyone. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. I'm a little bit behind on all of those, but let's make sure to go on to the next person real quick. Probably have 1 or 2 more conversations for today, everyone. We're almost at 4 hours, actually. Let's go on to the next individual. We should be on later tomorrow as well, just letting everyone know. That's at least what I plan. Alrighty.
Parker,
what's up, how old are you?
I just wanted to say, you let people move the goalpost too much. I love your videos. Bye-bye.
I try my hardest to keep them on track, but I appreciate it. Yeah, what's up, how old are you?
Yo, I was here the other day. I heard you wanted me back. I was the average guy.
Who asked you for? I don't even remember.
You were calling me stupid, and you said it was a joke, and it was like conversation. We were talking about healthcare, and I was comparing like the actual problem with healthcare. You accused me of running.
I don't remember, chat.
I believe it was yesterday, dude, or the day before, actually.
I accused you of running? I don't remember.
Yeah, but something actually interesting, Parker. So it's very funny to me how you advocate for all this stuff about, you know, women and abuse of women and everything. And the person that you just had up was actually like took a plea deal on his domestic violence case against his own wife. Did you know that about Brett
Who?
Cross? Brett
What?
Cross. How about you
What?
look this up on Google? Yeah. How about you look this up on Google? That man is such a liar. And not only is he a liar, yeah, get up here, Brett.
Wait.
You have me blocked.
Wait.
Here comes the mods muting me. Get up.
No, I muted you. I'm letting Brett respond real quick. What did you just say?
Yeah, no, go ahead. Search my name. You'll see some.
Yeah,
some
go ahead.
bullshit from-
Search
Let me
his
finish
name
talking.
to see the.
Jack, be quiet.
Yeah.
Did you take a?
Hey, let me talk, bud. So this is the same police force that I have been volleying against for the past 3 years. The same police force that arrested me for saying fuck. This is the same police force that kept my wife in a room for 6 hours and wouldn't let her out. This is the same police force that my wife has told over and over and over that none of that happened. That what had happened was
All
she
right,
was kept in a
can I
room
talk real
for
quick?
too damn long. That's what it was.
He's just.
Wait,
he's
let
lying,
Brett
Parker.
finish.
He's gonna-
Let Brett finish.
He's
Wait, so-
lying, like straight up.
Wait, so to clarify, like...
No, let me clarify real quick,
Jack,
Parker.
what's your
Just-
response to that?
So real quick, the reason why his wife, that he had to take a plea deal, is because his wife would have had to go on stand and actually testify about what she wrote in a report about what he did to her. And that is actual. You can go look up the report. You can go look up the news conferences. He took a plea deal because he didn't want his wife to go up there and commit perjury because of what she said in the report of when the police actually came there.
Exactly.
Okay,
Because
so
she
you
was
did
held.
commit it because she
held.
originally wrote a report about
She
this.
was held for
Brett.
over 6 hours, and they would
You're
not.
a
let her
horrible
go.
person, dude. You're a horrible.
She was held for 6 hours. They wouldn't let her go. The reason why I took the plea, and I've talked about this
So you
many
did take-
times out in the open, was because I didn't want my wife to have to get back on the stand because she was terrified of those damn cops that have been harassing and stalking her daily as well.
So did they make up the?
So yeah, I mean, like I said, this isn't nothing.
Why am I keep getting muted?
Literally, I can come up tomorrow with my wife if that's what.
That
it takes.
doesn't
Like, I
matter,
don't care.
Brett. That doesn't change what the report said of what she originally.
Yeah, here's what I'm gonna do right now, and I hope no one takes this personally. I'm not gonna litigate this on my stream. I guess I'll look into this, but I'm not gonna like litigate this on my stream right now. I'm kind of like genuinely like I don't know what's going on right now. I'll have to like look into this. I genuinely am confused and honestly like was completely caught off guard with everything that's just happened right now. Yeah, I guess I don't even know how to I don't know. I guess I'm kind of like shocked right now. Um I don't know. I'm gonna I guess go on with debates for right now, and I'll probably end here pretty soon. But yeah, I definitely will have to look into everything. Yo, what's
Yo,
up? How old are
hello?
you?
18.
And do you support Donald Trump?
I do.
Okay, and what's your birth year?
2007.
Okay, and if you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
Definitely Donald Trump.
Okay, why do you support Donald Trump?
Okay, well, um, first, before I tell you why I support Donald Trump, I want you to tell me why you don't support him. So I just know your opinion on that.
Yeah, well, I feel like it'd be a good time to talk about like why do you support or I guess like I'll talk about the Big Beautiful Bill. The Big Beautiful Bill cuts 420,000 children off of free school lunch and breakfast on average every single month, over 2.5 million people on average every month off their access to food stamps, and over 10 million people off their access to health insurance, while adding $3.4 trillion to the debt. His tariff policy disproportionately raises taxes for lower and middle income individuals as they spend a greater proportion of their income on consumer goods.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I do support Trump on lots of reasons, but there are things I disagree with, as you said, with like, different policies and stuff. Well, if you want to, well, is there any like specific thing you want to debate about? Because I'm open to about
Yeah, I
like
guess I
anything.
would just ask you, like, why do you support those particular policies, I guess, of the Trump administration, like the Big Beautiful Bill?
Well, well, I'm not too well educated on this, but I know like a little bit, not really like enough to debate about that specific topic. I'm not too big in policies because back when all of this was like policies being created by him, I wasn't really there for it. So, you want? Well, yeah, I'm kind of stuck. Hey,
Alrighty.
so any
So, is there any
like
reason why
not
you
pop?
support Trump then?
Yeah, I believe that he's a good leader, and what the country needs, he is pretty prominent when he's speaking. His rhetoric is good.
Such
Good
as?
leader. He got everybody's vote. He was able to persuade people. Just being able to talk to people good. Right, your comments are dissing me. All right, yeah, being able like his rhetoric, he got everybody's vote. He was able to persuade people to vote for him, which is very big in leadership. That's a good quality. Wouldn't you say so?
He gets people to listen to him. How did that work with Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Well, these are just these are the
Isn't he calling
accusations.
her a traitor because they didn't listen to him and they voted to release the Epstein files?
What do you think what actually happened was great? Like, do you think everything, like, do you think it was? Do you think the accusations are true about that? I'd love to dig into that, actually.
I mean, what about what I said do you dispute, I guess?
No, I said about her. Sorry, I can't remember names that good. Yes, she was with Donald Trump, and what year was it? And was accused of SA and all these other different things.
Yeah,
But
do you accept the 26 plus people that accused him of sexual misconduct?
I mean, but that's with every famous person, is it not? Aren't there people
No.
trying to get
No,
lawsuits?
can you name
And
one other
plus,
circumstance where 26 people have accused someone of sexual misconduct and every single one of them are lying?
maybe if I do some research, yeah, probably there are people out there for lawsuits, lawsuit hungry.
Yeah, and would you like to provide any circumstance? Because I don't think you can. Also, you can't address any of the circumstances in terms of like any of the position or person running for position of presidency that this has been applicable to, right? Kamala
Mhm.
Harris, like this is not applicable to her. So why would you say that Kamala Harris would be a worse candidate when over 26 people have accused him of sexual misconduct? Plus, someone has held him liable for sexual abuse in a civil court amongst a unanimous decision of 9 people and a jury.
All right, well, so I came on here actually to talk a little bit about Dean, actually, on his opinions, and I think that
If you
I
want
have
to
a
talk to
little.
Dean, you can talk to Dean.
No. Like when you were in the live with him,
Then you're talking about me?
like you and Dean, like combined conversation.
Okay, what about it?
All right, so you guys were talking about Trump. Let me find my words here. Sorry, I just got done like exercising, so sorry. All right, so
He's cutting out. Hello? Are you back?
yeah, sorry, my internet's bad.
Okay, he's swiping out everyone.
All right, I'm back.
Go ahead.
All right, so you were talking about Trump. Well, Dean and you about Trump. Bro. Sorry, my internet.
I don't think that's your internet. It tells me if you have like a connection that is not as connected. Like it will
No,
show like
it's
like only a few bars.
all right. No. Okay, bro. Hold on, bro. I'm getting like brain farts right now. No, it is dead ass my internet though. I'm not even gonna lie.
Okay.
All right, so in the rallies, you were talking about Trump and how, well, this was mostly Dean, but you were in the conversation about how Trump was calling people that were violent in the rallies patriots. And you're familiar with the what?
Yeah, Donald Trump pardoned violent rioters who beat police officers, and he called them patriots. You just swiped out of the app, so I didn't hear some of the things you said.
Yeah. So are you familiar with MFF, Kamala Harris?
The Minnesota Freedom Fund. Yeah, so there was
Yeah.
no intentional funding of anyone who has committed a violent offense, right? Most of the people specifically attributed that got access to things through the Minnesota Freedom Fund were like people who have not committed any type of violent crime, right? So again, the intention specifically in terms of supporting, right, the MFF was specifically to support those that have not committed violent crimes, that have that are innocent.
Well, actually, no. She did tweet publicly that she wanted them to fight back, maybe
No,
figuratively.
she was not
but with
advocating
the
for
MFF,
violence.
well,
That's just not
actually,
true.
she
You're
did.
being dishonest when you're trying to portray
I'm
it this
not
way.
though. You look
are.
it up right now. Look it up.
I have.
MFF publicly on. She was bailing people out of jail for the riots.
She was not
that
intentionally
were.
wanting people who have committed violent offenses to be bailed out.
She told them to keep on fighting.
She didn't. Wait, so are you saying Trump, when he said fight like hell, he was inciting violence?
Well, yeah, I'm not against this, but I'm
Wait,
saying
do you
that
think
you
he
guys
was
were.
inciting violence? Yes or no?
Yes.
You do?
To
You
some
do think he
extent.
was? Okay.
Well,
So, well,
But this is not my,
But
my
by the way,
argument.
I think
I'm
you
not
can.
against.
I
I'm not
think you
against
can.
Kamala saying this either.
Kamala,
You guys were
I think in
against
the
that.
context, I think in the context that she's saying it there, she's not saying it in a literal violent way. There's a sense
Well,
of we have to fight for what we believe in, right? And that's not necessarily meaning like a literal sense of fight. That just means like we
well, I would
specifically
argue
support
that
and
it is
advocate for these
because
particular views.
her willingly doing the bell with all the riots, that like clearly signifies that like she knew that violence was happening, and then she continues to carry out those violent actions, or not she, but like her people.
Okay, so no, she did not support any of the violence. You can't point to the fact that she supported funding particular
Okay, how would
individuals
she not
who are
wait?
violent to get out of these circumstances. And in the position of being able to pardon individuals in that circumstance, why did Donald Trump pardon violent rioters who beat police officers? Because that's directly and intentionally doing so. Whereas the point you're bringing up is definitely not, right? There's not good evidence to indicate that it was direct and intentional.
Well, wait. Let me rephrase this. All right. So her willingly MFF bailing people out of jail because of the violent rallies and everything, and her saying continue fighting, maybe figuratively, but with all that going on and her bailing people out of jail, basic like free card, whatever, I would say that clearly indicates that she is with it. Would you not?
No, because I don't think that she was specifically saying that she wanted this, and she didn't have reason to believe that individuals who have committed violent offenses, this would be applicable to them. So I don't understand what the point is. She gave no defense for violent riots. She constantly condemned, right, as it did like every other Democratic lawmaker, whereas Donald Trump didn't do so.
Well,
I mean, he's called for the execution of some Democrats because they said not to follow unlawful orders. Is that not explicitly calling for death threats?
No. I mean, no, I just don't get how you're still stuck on the Kamala thing and you can't just accept that
Kamala?
she's not.
No, I do
and
accept
read
that
exact-
she didn't. I accept that she didn't get elected, but the point I'm making is I want people to realize in retrospect they would have voted differently.
Retrospect, they would have voted differently. Well, I mean, it's not retrospect though, and
It's so
it
that
was
people
like,
view it
well,
differently
you
in the
know what?
future.
You're right a little bit.
Do you have anything else?
Sorry, I'm eating. Okay. Yes, hold on. So with the whole debate, 2 hours longer or whatever, and then that guy came on, about the gun policies and everything. So I do believe that guns, should have like a little bit more, I don't know, safe protocol before you get a gun, like mental clarity check or whatever, but I don't think that guns should be completely off limits.
Okay. No one's saying guns are completely cut
I'm
off
talking about to the
limits.
public, like
We're just saying
18-year-olds.
we restrict access to certain types of guns, and we want some types of restrictions in order to ensure that we have a reduced amount of people who are going to die. We obviously want to reduce that, right?
Wait.
Are you pro-life?
Yeah, of course.
So you believe in restricting bodily autonomy to save human life in relation to the context of abortion, but you don't want to restrict gun access to save human life?
Well, no. You use that argument with the other person, but my argument against that is I think we should solve the base problem, and that is people with mental health issues. Wait. All right, so I'll get back to you with that because you kind of contradicted yourself. But the base problem
How did
is
I
mental health
contradict myself?
issues. It's not. Huh?
How did I contradict myself?
Why are you willing to save everybody's life with guns, but you don't even take abortion into mind?
They're not sentient prior to sentience. That's the reason. So that's not a contradiction.
This is
because I just
quite
don't
a
value it prior to
complicated
sentience,
topic.
and like What's up?
Scientifically, he's still a human being, though. All right, but that's not our debate, though.
I
It's
don't
guns.
value human cellular life. I value human sentient life.
All right. You know, Gen Z. Okay. Do you care about like future kids and generations at all?
Yeah.
Okay. 28% of Gen Z has been terminated by abortions. Do you know?
I believe that people should have a right to get access to an abortion. I'm gonna get
Okay,
off for tonight, though, man. I'll let you come up on a different day, man. I think I'm just gonna get off for now. Yeah, I'm just gonna say, everyone, good night, everyone. I love y'all so much. I do have to get going. I actually have to. Here, let me actually give me 1 second. I'll grab something and then I'll say bye. All right, everyone. I love y'all. I gotta get off, everyone. Let me say good, thank you to a few people real quick. Let me say thank you to a few people. Toad, by the way, thank you for the $50. Thank you so much. I just saw that right now. I'm gonna say thank you to you. I can't really say thank you to everyone, but thank you so much. Give some W's for Toad in the comment section before I go. Thank you, everyone. I need a good night's sleep. I will see everyone tomorrow. I love y'all so much. Good night, everyone. Good night.